On this episode of the Star Wars Time Show, Matt and Nick will continue their study of Skeleton Crew by breaking down and analyzing the key plot points featured in the third episode of the series. Will they have new theories and speculations? What have they learned about the show's three core mysteries? Can Jadna be trusted? The dudes will be spitting all this and more hot air in this week's episode, so stay tuned and prepare to get dumber just by listening to them. Of course, they'll end the show with the question of the week responses and the latest round of top hot Star Wars fan artist features. Punch it, Chewie.
There you go. Now you can hear me. Dudes and dudettes, it has been a day. Hey, now! You got me now, right? Can you hear me now? Sign me up. Call me Verizon guy who went to Sprint guy to T-Mobile guy. I need a job type of guy. Welcome back, my friends, to another episode of the Star Wars Time Show. There's always time for Star Wars time in these parts of the galaxy. Unless you're on At Attin, then you wouldn't know jack poop about the Star Wars Time Show because they don't know anything over there. And boy, oh boy, am I excited to start lore spinning, theory crafting, speculation spitting about the Skeleton Crew, At Attin, and its jeweled past in the Old Republic. Jadna Nawood's third alter ego we learned about this week in S Crew Episode 3. All sorts of stuff to talk about, and that's the reason why I'm so damn late today and shot out of a cannon. I have been Star Warsing since about 11:30 last night. I went to bed, thought about it all night, got up thinking about it, and then went right to work, talking about 7 or 8 hours straight of breaking Episode 3 down. I got to get up even earlier so I'm not so damn late. There's other reasons for today being so hectic. Sadly, for my mom, who just lost her sister in October, we found out today that she just lost her brother. So it's just been one of those fucking days, you know? And then I start, Mike's not on, Nick's not here, of course. I'm all panicky that, you know, my second Skeleton Crew review is going to fizzle out at YouTube. It's already only at like 5 views. It's been out for an hour. It really does seem I'm better served to release the review, at least the video portion, after 6 p.m. We'll see how the numbers do tomorrow, but it's not looking so great for someone that just spent a good part of their day trying to bring some of you, some of Star Wars Nation, a thoughtful review, breakdown, and theory-crafted video for Skeleton Crew. I'm telling you right now, you're not going to get anything better. I'm a narcissist mother effer when it comes to this type of stuff. We all know this, right? But I know my content is king, and the reason I know that is because I'm starting to see all these other Star Wars channels coming out here running on theories that literally I've been talking about since before the show even came out. Right? Bounty hunters. Nick and I called that. We called that back in our prediction show. All this stuff with Jadna and his latent force abilities and where that may come from. Is his mother the one that left him, right? You remember he almost said, that's not true when Fern said Jedi don't leave anyone behind. He's clearly been left and probably by a Jedi. But those types of thoughts, they come from this brain first, okay? This brain. You might see him pop up around all these other networks some of you tap into. Shit's coming here first. It's more detailed. It's more thorough. It's more researched. Okay, that's why it takes so damn long to make my videos, because I am researching. Did you know what a proto-republic was? Did you know what the what's the PAL Martian numerals were? No. Well, guess what? You're going to learn in my breakdown. So hit it. We'll talk about today when young Nick shows up when we do our live deep dive of Skeleton Crew S1E3. But let's go. Let's go. I hear you, props. I hear you. They are listening to us. And then somehow the theories come up. I don't know. Like I said, I've tried to go a year of trying to be a normal person, a normal Star Wars creator that can actually sit there and appreciate other Star Wars creators and their communities and the content they create, but I don't think I can do it. I really don't think I can do it. Okay? I see these people, they share each other's work. They're so positive, and I try to, get in there and share some of their stuff, but it's never returned. It's never reciprocated to me. I know I'm an old guy. I've got like 15 years plus on some of these creators, but let's go. Why does no one want to play with the Star Wars Time Show? Are we too rough? Are we too edgy? Are we too explicit? Who gives a shit, right? Who gives a shit? Hey there, Sir Dork. Good to see you. And oh my God, I got to kick you out because you didn't pay for that chat. B-Mad did. And you know how we roll over here at SWTS. If you pay, you get to play. So B-Mad is saying, visited your hometown, Matt. Rode the vertical trolley to uptown Pittsburgh and got some beautiful views with fresh snow. Left bleeding black and yellow. Let's go, dude. Black and yellow, the whiz, man. We're coming out yet. The Steelers are finally good. Or are they? I don't know. I still can't trust that they're good, and they're 10-3 and looking great. But it's been many years of Mike Tomlin kind of letting me down, so we shall see. Hey now. Yeah, what we call those B-Mads in town instead of a vertical trolley, those are known as the incline. But it is a pretty cool little experience. I'm glad you got to go. It sounds like you definitely got some good views, and let's root for these boys this week in the Battle of the Keystone State as they take on the Dirty Birds of Philadelphia. All right, we got a lot of people coming in here. Grim Destroyer, what's going on here? Star Wars is awesome, my friend. Welcome to the Star Wars Time Show, and R.I.P. to James Earl Jones, like you're saying. I love you. League, we love you. Smith, what's going on? Hey now. Welcome to the regulars. It's great to see you. And of course, Divided, what is up? That's right, Grim. It is time to celebrate Life Day in our own lives as we are close to that event that took place in Star Wars. And as we talked last week, we had a fantastic nod to Life Day in the opening episode of Skeleton Crew. So I'm here. I can't say my thoughts are as gathered and as collected as I would like them to be, because I have not stopped doing Star Wars shit pretty much all day. The only break I got was 30 minutes of working out and kicking my ass with kettlebells, so it really wasn't even a break. You know what, B-Mad? I mean, listen, I'll boo the Philly teams because that's what you do if you're a real sports fan of a team that is not a city's team. But I do have a lot of love for Philly just because, I mean, that's pretty much where I descend from. My parents are both Philadelphians. Most of their family stuck there. There's a reason I kind of have that East Coast hard-ass chip, and then the Pittsburgh stuff, and then sadly I've spent most of my life in the boring-ass Midwest, but I'll never lose my East Coast roots. The Steel City, the Berg, downtown, Pittsburgh, get some gum bands. Did you get any Permane Brothers? Damn, now I'm hungry. All right, so as you can see, the new thing is here, pretty much I'm just going to be starting the shows these days. Who knows? Young Nick, he gets beat up there. It's the holidays. He's in marketing, so clearly he's always going to be busy. He and I may need to kick the tires on just moving the show to 5:30 East. So let's see what's going on here. What do you mean my intro's playing? Sir Dork, you must be behind. All right. anyways, everything's current, I think. I don't know what's going on anymore, but both of the live streams are currently saying they've been live for about 14 minutes. There's a chance now you all may be getting some ads in the middle of the live stream because big news here. Oh man, what do you mean playing over me? Sir Dork, you're really screwing me up here, bro. I don't see anything playing right now. What's going on, Julia Hoffman? I don't know what to tell you, Dork. I'm sorry. Really not sure what's happening for you live streamers these days. Free Luigi. There's some good stuff going on here. Yeah, sorry, Dork. I don't know what's going on, man. I wish I did, but who knows? So maybe it's a Sir Dork thing. Hopefully, I can't really deal with a technical issue right now when young Nick is out, and I'm still recording my stem for the podcast version. All right, we got all sorts of stuff going on in the vertical stream chat. We got some free Diddy chants. We've got some My Wigga. What's going on, Julia Hoffman? Good to see you. All right, I'm just not going to worry about it. Hopefully it squirrels itself out or figures itself out. I don't really know what to tell you these days. Somehow monetization is turned off, so I guess you won't even have to worry about that. You know what I mean? Okay, let's turn that on. And let's turn that on. All right, maybe that'll help. I did have some pop-ups there, so maybe that'll help those of you that were looking at some weird stuff on the stream. If you're listening on the podcast-only version, I apologize, because you probably are ready to stab your ears out just listening to crap. All right, let's get it. Let's get it. B-Mad, I'm going to touch on that. B-Mad's bringing up in the live stream chat here. By the way, if you are a podcast listener, you want to join in on the fun, Wednesdays, 5 p. Eastern, as close as we can get, youtube.com/Star Wars Time Show. But B-Mad is asking, anyone else think Jude Law is crushing his role? Modern day Kyle Katarn. I'll give you a quick hit, B. Star of this episode. All right? Jude was a star of this episode. The kids are great, but he's even better. And it seems we finally found the troll. We got Julia Hoffman is a troll. We're going to out her right now in here saying Skeleton Crew is awful. You know what, Julia? I hope you have a better day, and I hope you can be happier at some point in your life, all right? But the show is not awful. People like you, you know what? I'm not going to say it. People like you do whatever the hell you want. Have a good time, right? It's no hold barred these days, so have at it. But yeah, I think Jude is doing a great job here. Bat's in that. Julia again is not down with the Skeleton Crew, and that's fine. You know, she's worried about Diddy and Luigi and other criminals. It's all good though. Like I said, we're not here. We're not the type of Star Wars channel that just peddles in hate and bullshit and all that type of stuff. If you hate it, great. Have at it. We love it here. I think Skeleton Crew's doing a great job. So we're going to rock with that. All right, while we wait for young Nick to show up here, let's kick through some low-hanging fruit, if you will. Kind of starting with something we tried to do last week. I'm going to try to do it now. And that is voting on the new emojis for our channel members, okay? Just in case you're new here, we do have channel members for the time being. Some leave, some stay. But a few weeks ago, we put up a vote, and we are tied. Actually, we're no longer tied on Mando, so I know the Mando I'm going to take. I'm going to take Mando too. We got our Tic Tac Thrawn, so he can be added. And you know what? We don't even have to do this. So thank goodness. I don't have to do a live poll. Sorry about that, League, but someone did come in and vote finally. So we have winners on our new emojis for channel members. So if you want to think about becoming a member, it's as low as $1.99 a month. We're going to be adding this Kylo Ren. Hopefully you can see him. He looks awesome. He's screaming more right through his mask. And then Tic Tac Thron will be coming to the set of custom emojis you can use. And finally, Mando 2 right here. So kudos to you members that got in there and voted. You know what I mean? Kudos to those that voted. So in between now and next week, I will be uploading a new Mando emoji, Tic Tac Thron, and of course, the winner in more Kylo Ren, if you know what I'm saying. So excellent stuff there. Kudos to the channel members that laid down their votes. As you can see, League is displaying what you get with your membership, and that is the vaunted Darth Vader Golden Trophy, which you should levy upon me anytime I say something excellent, which is usually most of the time. All right. Sir Dork, we do have Matt and Nick emojis. As you can see, Sir Dork, he pops up. He's got the Sith Lord designation. What a champ. He is a dude. But we got to wait. We actually had a member leave, so now we need 3 members to join so we can unlock more emojis to use, and then we're definitely going to bring in the Matt and Nick. If you missed them last week, here they are right here. There's my man, Young Nick. And then here is the old guy screaming at clouds. So those are the ones we are going to add. The emojis leaving are going to be probably the Darth Vader, Asajj Ventress, and the Stormtrooper. All right? So that's what we're looking at. That is what we're looking at. I don't know what it means. Sir Dork's been a sponsor for a while, but thank you, Stream Elements. We speak your name, too. All right? So, yeah, hey, stuff's for free. I'm going to keep doing it. I'd love, if you don't want to be a channel member, at least become a channel subscriber, because that makes me feel good and doesn't make me feel like I'm completely throwing my life away. But if you do want, a little extra juice, you want to show your appreciation that much more, channel membership's the way to go. You'll even get the little Darth Vader cat next to your name in live stream chats and in our community. All right, so that's enough of that type of stuff. A few more minutes and young Nick should be here. So let's get into some of our news that we need to touch on. Starting with this little story that I know got some people excited. I saw this popping up all over the socials here. But we got some Mando and Grogu news, and it's pretty neat. It definitely gives you something to think about, like how they're going to pull this off, how it's going to be presented. And this news comes from Deadline. And the big reveal here for Mandalorian Grogu is that Jeremy Allen White of The Beast fame, a show I have never watched because I suck at watching good TV when it's actually relevant. I like to wait a few years after when the conversation has died down. But Jeremy Allen White of The Beast fame, multi-Golden Globe winner, is going to be portraying Rotta the Hutt, a live-action version of Rotta the Hutt, in the Mandalorian and Grogu movie. All right, so I didn't see that coming. I honestly did not see that coming a mile away. I don't even know this guy. I mean, I think he looks like a young Gene Wilder. For some of you older people, you probably get that reference. But, of course, I know Rotta. I mean, Rotta was one of the main MacGuffins, if you will, in the Clone Wars movie that kicked off the Clone Wars series way back when. So Rotta the Hutt is Jabba the Hutt's son, and when we first meet him in the Clone Wars, he is actually kidnapped by the Separatists, and they try to pin it on the Jedi to get Jabba the Hutt and the Hutt cartel to kind of join the CIS. But Ahsoka and Sky Guy, they go and rescue Rotta and bring him back and kind of avoid that type of epic failure. But Rotta was just a baby. So Rotta was just a little baby slug. If you're online, you can kind of see a picture of him now if you're on the live stream chat. I'm sure we'll link to it in the podcast post that we put out on Thursdays. But he was a tiny little guy. I think Ahsoka called him Stinky or something like that. She could hold him. He was like a little plushie. What do they call the kids these days? He's like a little squishmallow. You know what I mean? And, that was that. We never really thought we'd see Rotta the Hutt again. He never really popped up in the rest of the Clone Wars. He most definitely never showed up in the original trilogy. And he hasn't popped up in the Mandoverse. I mean, we've had some of his, what would that have been? His aunt and uncle or relatives showed up in the Book of Boba Fett. But Rotta, for the most part, was one and done in the Clone Wars. But that is no longer the case. So Rotta, League's asking me here, do you know if Rotta was aged up? And yeah, he's going to be aged up. These are some of the details I do know. So, lots of stuff going in the chat. Love you people. When I'm here riding solo, I got a hard time kind of following that and also keeping focus. So when Nick gets here, I'll try to address the chat a bit more. But, like Nova's saying here, it is like, if you think about it, I mean, Rotta was Jabba's son. When Jabba passed, in mob type of scenarios, mafia scenarios, usually the family takes over, but we know that was not the case. We know Bib Fortuna actually took over for the fallen Jabba until Boba Fett came and shot him in the head, and then he became the daimyo of Mos Espa. So what did happen to Rotta? That's a good thing to think about. So he's definitely going to be aged up. I mean, he's going to be, at least pushing 30 years older from when we saw him in the Clone Wars. I have heard that he is going to be one of, and this is actually a canon thing, because I remember this from a recent comic book run, possibly the War of the Bounty Hunters. But Rotta the Hutt apparently is not going to look like his dad. Rotta the Hutt seems to be in Hutt CrossFit, because I have heard, and I think this came from Bespin Bulletin, that Rotta the Hutt is going to be fucking jacked. Like swole. And if you remember, there is precedence for this. I forget which relative it is of Jabba's, or which Hutt, what the Hutt's name is, but there was a jacked Hutt, I believe, in the War of the Bounty Hunters, or possibly this might even been back in the High Republic. So either way, we can have Hutts that don't look like big fat ass space slugs. So expect Jeremy Allen White's Rotta to be kind of buff, okay? To be kind of jacked, which could be cool. Maybe we'll actually get to see him not slithering around on his fat ass body, but almost, kind of think like a genie or a snake, where he'll be strong enough to kind of slither his swole body around. All right. So we see a lot. There's a lot of questions in the chat here about, what do you think he'll be doing? I'm kind of with Bat, Bat saying he's playing a Michael Corleone type of character and will bring Vegas to Tatooine. So yeah, it's almost like, how Michael in The Godfather, he kind of got away from his dad's business and he joined the army and all that stuff. And he was very hesitant to come in. Fredo wanted to take it over, or Sonny was going to take it over. And then, we know what happens, but I'm with you, Bat. I do think Rotta was either sent away or kind of left the palace. Maybe he wanted to do his own thing. Maybe he wanted to get away from, what his dad was into. But I do think he left. He's not on Tatooine clearly, so we can kind of rub that out. But from what we've been told, this is not going to be just a cameo character. Rotta the Hutt, voiced by White, not a cameo. So he is going to play a main character, someone that actually is probably going to affect Din and Grogu's journey. Now, I'm guessing it's probably going to be, they're either going to be sent on a mission that involves him in a possible enterprise that he is in, or they're going to be sent to Rotta to be given a mission. And here's where I think Rotta's been, actually, or where Din and Grogu could run into Rotta. I think, actually, I'm just going to put it out there. Let's just run with this. We know that he's probably going to be based either on Nal Hutta, which is the Hutt homeworld, or Nar Shaddaa, which is a moon that I believe orbits Nal Hutta. Nar Shaddaa, again, a big backdrop, a big landscape in the War of the Bounty Hunter comics from a few years ago. I don't believe we've been to Hutt or Shaddaa in live action. And considering that Mando and Grogu are more or less going to be Rangers of the New Republic, being sent on bounties and missions for the New Republic that the New Republic can't necessarily do because it might be shady, it might be, underworld, syndicate type of stuff, it makes perfect sense to send Din and Grogu to Hutt space. All right? Let's go to Hutt space. So the fandos in the live stream, they're bringing up some good questions here. Be mad. I pray they don't butcher the CGI. Divided coming in. Well, maybe he'll be a puppet. Based on what we're getting in Skeleton Crew, I could see them making another Hutt puppet. I mean, that's how Daddy started. And I still think to this day, the Jabba the Hutt puppet in Return of the Jedi is the best looking form of Jabba, not the CG stuff. So, it'd be interesting. Now, it would be weird if he comes out and he has bipedal legs and it's Jeremy Allen White's legs and then you got a Hutt costume on, but I've got a feeling that they'll do just fine with live action Rotta. You got a stud voicing him and it's not just a cameo. So to recap here, Jeremy Allen White voicing Rotta the Hutt in Mando and Grogu movie. Rotta is not just a cameo character, so I think he's going to be heavily involved in one of their missions, either giving it to them or he is part of the mission. And I think they're going to run into him in Hutt space, hopefully Nal Hutta or Nar Shaddaa. Baba Booey to you all. You know what I mean? What do we got here? We got SW Props bringing up a good point. Thank you for reminding me. This week, Props is asking, what about Latif's cryptic Insta story tagging Pedro while he was driving to set? Interesting. Yeah, so if you know what that means, Latif Crowder is one of Din Djarin's stunt doubles. He's the double that does most of the fisticuff action while Brendan Wayne does pretty much everything else. So you'd have to think if we have Latif tagging Pedro going to work, that good chance Pedro probably shot some helmet off scenes this week. And we've all known this. I mean, we've been talking about this for a while now. Like, the only way Pedro is going to get involved in this flick is if the helmet is off. So I think we can go ahead and take that to the bank along with Rotta the Hutt being in Hutt space. You heard it here first. Multiple years before this stuff's going to come out. Just wait and see when all the other channels in May of 26 are like, oh, do you see this? He was in Hutt space. How could that ever happen? All right. I'm in a mood today, my friends. I am in a mood today. That's right, Smitty. More puppets. Bring on the puppets. So many puppets. Oh my goodness. Kim the puppet. Come on. I mean, how great are the puppets of Skeleton Crew? I just want to talk about it. Young Nick, where art thou? All right, where is he? All right, hit me, Nick. I think he's ready. Come on, hit me. I think my Skype's up. Oh shit, he must have called like 9 times. Sorry, Nick. Let's go. All right, I'm bringing the man in here. Here he comes. Here comes the true star of the show. I must have my notifications silenced at 5 o'clock, so the poor guy's sitting here ringing me. It has rung in the past, but here he is, Nick. Yeah, clear it up. I'll get us switched over. Ta-da!
Here we go.
He made it. He's here. Thank God, dude. I was starting to run out of vamp shit because, like I've been telling you in our Slack, today has been a day. I mean, I've been up doing nothing but Star Wars. Got some unfortunate family news, had another passing just, not even 6 weeks after my mom's sister died. Now her brother has passed. So it's just been a day. I've not stopped outside to work out. So I've just been word vomiting, trying to keep up with the chat. We had some goofballs in here, threw me off for a second, but it's good to see you. And as Nick said last night, listen to this. This is how I know this motherfucker loves Skeleton Crew, probably more than anything we've talked about live. Dude watched it Day one. He watched it before me. This motherfucker's shooting me. Hey man, Kim's awesome. Like, who the fuck's Kim? Right, dude? You're loving this shit.
I think the reason that I'm watching this one earlier is because I'm watching this one with Taylor.
Oh, okay. All right.
She is cool with watching this show with me.
Got ya.
So It makes it to where like usually our evening TV time is for shows that we both watch. So I would save
Excellent.
the Star Wars show for like either at night after she goes to sleep, or like try to fit it in during the day today. But because she's into it, I can watch it during our nighttime
that's
TV
a bonus.
sessions.
I banned my family from my first watch because they wouldn't like it. I mean, you wouldn't either. It's very monotonous. There's a lot of pausing, a lot of thinking, a lot of note taking, a lot of closed caption reading. So we'll be doing that tonight. But I'm happy for you too that you have something to kind of bond over Star Wars with. I know, it's not always easy when we kind of bond or pair up with people that aren't quite into this shit the way we are. So that is excellent. Anyways, what I was doing, Nick, I was just covering some of the low hanging fruit. But now that you're here, we'll kind of get moving on here. I was just wrapping the story that Jeremy Allen White is going to be voicing Rotta the Hutt in the Mando and Grogu movie. So I don't know if you're a fan of the Bear. I've never watched it. Do you? Are you a Bear watcher?
We watched like the first few episodes, and it just like it wasn't the type of show that we typically watch, even though we know it's good. Like it was a good show when we watched it, but it just wasn't something that we wanted to continue.
Got it.
So know of it, but like not a huge.
Yeah. Listen, I'm not watching it either, but I mean, apparently the guy's good at what he does. He's got a few Golden Globes. He seems to be a hot brand. It's funny they're bringing him in the voice of Hutt, and some of the news that wasn't in the Deadline article that I kind of scraped is that he's probably going to be a jacked Hutt, like fucking ripped, like the Rock Hutt. You know what I mean? So
it's going to be interesting to see exactly what he looks like, because as you were saying, like, or in the article, like Rotta, the last time we saw him was literally just like a tadpole. So if he is going to play
exactly.
Rotta,
Yeah, he was just called Stinky back then. So, and the last thing we don't need to get into because I just went through it, but I told them all to take it to the bank. I think Din and Grogu, they're going to run into this guy either because they're being sent on a mission to find him or they're being sent to get a mission from him. And I'm saying, Nick, for the first time in live action, I think we're going to go to Hutt space and either visit Nal Hutta or Nar Shaddaa, where they'll kind of run into Rotta, because he's being promised as not a cameo character. So he is going to be a mission giver, someone that he's going to have a little more meat than just, oh, hey, there's Rotta and Jeremy Allen White voiced him.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how they handle like his location, because you would imagine after the death of his father that like he's probably gone back to Nal Hutta instead of Nar Shaddaa. I mean, Nar Shaddaa is like huge casino planet. You would imagine that his family line is in like a rougher spot now that his dad has been assassinated.
Right, Bib took over the palace, so I mean he kind of ceded the Tatooine business to Bib, and so what's he been doing? I think he's out in Hutt space. So, all right, you're right, Bat. He's got a crush on Ahsoka. That would be fucking awesome.
Oh
if he asked, if there's somehow he sees that Grogu has the Force and it kind of clues him in, like, hey, did you ever meet Ahsoka Tano? That would be brilliant. But again, because we thought of it and it's super fan service, ain't gonna happen. Dave Filoni fucking hates us. All right, so just go ahead and tuck that back under your pillow. All right, dude. What do I want to get into? Before we do the deep dive, we did have a few questions, not many. Instagram, I'm sure, Nick, your day might have been kind of hellish today if you had to share on any Meta property, because there was jacked. I mean, IG was barely functioning today, so we don't have a ton of Ask Us Anything, but we do have a few. So let's go ahead and we will knock those out, and then we'll get to a quick little thing on Skeleton Crew Season 2, and then the rest of the show, we're pulling our pants off, and we're jumping feet first into Skeleton Crew Episode 3. That's right, pantless. We're going skinny dipping to do this type of stuff. No props. It was global issue. Like IG, it had a day today. So have fun, Meta IT people. Fuck you. All right, let me get to the questions here. We had a few, not many. We can't blame them. Technology failed us today. All right, so we have Spencer here asking, thoughts on Bluey?
Yeah. I have seen I've only seen a couple of episodes of it because I mean I don't have kids, so but it seemed funny. It seemed like they make that show kind of in a way that's like, yeah, kids can enjoy it, but so can adults. Like there's a lot of stuff in there for adults that kids probably won't catch. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I had a kid. We miss Bluey. Just like Nick, I've heard that it's phenomenal. I mean, it's basically written for adults, but can be consumed by kids, and it's supposed to always put out a good, positive message. So, you know, they don't grow up being like baby boomers or Gen Xers or, you know, some of the nuttier people in Z and now even Alpha. We were a Blippi family when my kid was growing up. Blippi's this dude, he's like a Pee Wee Herman type for kids, little kids. And like the real Pee Wee Herman, I actually believe that Blippi, or the guy that plays him, also got in trouble for some weird shit, like shitting in a driveway. But either way, he's rebounded. The guy probably makes $1 billion a year because little kids from ages 1 to like 3 or 4 just hit his videos all day long. He travels the world. He's got arena tours. It's insane what can happen on YouTube if the algorithm likes you and you make content for kids. That's really what it's at. So props. He's got a dog named Bluey, so he also is weighing in Spa Spencer. All right, next question here comes from Scion XTC, and we got to be careful with this one, Nick. You never know who's listening. Scion is, I don't even know where he's coming up with this question, but he's asking, when did you stop believing in Santa? Well, I never did. So why would you even ask that question? I mean, come on. I mean, I believe in him more than the invisible guy in the sky that a lot of you people think is going to save us one day. You know what I mean?
He eats the cookies off the plate.
Exactly.
You know?
Like,
so as long as the cookies are gone, I still believe.
Order. I wasn't saying. No, you missed my point on the generations. I was talking not about success. I know you Gen Zers, you kind of get hammered about that you can't be successful because you're all lazy. I was talking about, it seems the older generation you are in, the angrier of person you can be. Hopefully that clears things up. I mean, that
just comes with age for every generation. Yeah. I feel like it doesn't matter what generation you were born in. It's like once you start to get older, you just start to get more crotchety, and I'm avoiding that as best as I can.
It's crazy to think that the hippies have literally turned into like fascist nut jobs because of Facebook. So it's like
like a lot of the people who were probably on the field at Woodstock in '69 are the people who are absolutely crazy now.
Right. They want to deport everyone because egg prices are too high and all that stuff. All right. Jesus is real, just like Santa Claus. That's what we're saying here, Order. That's why we said, you know, that was a weird question from Scion. You know what I mean, Scion, right? Wink, wink. Okay. All right, here we go. I'm Gen X too, Bat. Don't worry, bro. I'm not going to claim any other generation. Don't worry about it. All right,
and also generationally, every generation,
of course,
the older generation above them says that they're lazy. So it doesn't make a difference what generation you're in.
But, you know, I mean, Gen X is the best generation. We had some of the best music, some of the best stuff. Nick's a millennial. He didn't make the cut. I'm literally at the tail end. Like 1980 was the last year you could claim X, and I'm keeping it. All right. Ripik Tan, our buddy from Instagram. Very nice, thoughtful question here. What are you guys doing for the holidays?
I am going home to New Orleans to see my family. This is the 3rd year in a row that I'm saying that. And the previous 2 years, I was not able to make it home because of canceled flights and all kind of other issues with Southwest and stuff like that. So this year, we are driving to New Orleans. So hopefully there won't be any issues with that. But yeah, so that is my plan for the holiday season, is to head back and see my family for the first time in 3 years for the holidays.
Well, we wish you the best of luck. You know, hopefully no typhoons or tsunamis come and screw your plan up. But you never know these days. What I will be doing is nothing. My family's here. We're going hardcore core unit, so it's just gonna be me, my wife, and the kid. My mom's not making it until the 26th or 27th, so it's just gonna be old school. the family unit. Okay, what do they call that? The nuclear family, right, Nick? That's what it's called. So, and I'm looking forward to it. I will tell you, even last night in therapy, I had to start talking about Star Wars and the holiday coming up. I might have a plan to help me kind of relieve some of that anxiety. Or honestly, I'll probably be helped by my second review completely flopping compared to last week's, which completely changed our channel. I mean, that just goes to show you why my dumbass keeps sitting here and banging my head into a wall and not really going anywhere. Because it takes one video to change the channel. I mean, we've gained 200 subs since last week. We got monetized for the first time in 6 fucking years. And we actually had like a dedicated interaction going back and forth for like 5 or 6 days. That's probably not going to happen this week, which may help my psychosis moving into Christmas and New Year's week. But if these things keep hitting, it's going to be impossible for me to not cover episodes 5 and 6 while I'm on holiday. So I'll do my best. I'm not promising anything, but I can just feel it right now. The itch is there, mostly because I love Skeleton Crew. I love thinking about it. I love producing content for other people to think about it. What I'm not going to love is if the floodgates get shut off again. So, long-winded answer, Rippick. I'm going to try to have a good time with my family, but I'm sure I'll fuck it up with my Star Wars narcissism and OCD.
I probably am not going to watch anything Star Wars related while I'm out, just because I don't feel like logging into my Disney Plus account.
You know what,
somebody
dude?
else's house.
If you think about it, it's kind of a poor decision on Lucasfilm's part. Because I know, listen, not everyone celebrates Christmas. Whatever. A majority of the fucking world does. So are you really going to get the eyes and the social media attention you want with a new show like this each week if you release it on fucking Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve? I mean, even the most seller of dwellers tend to at least do something with other people or go out Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve, right? So no one's really going to be watching the show that night. So Lucasfilm, why don't we just do like a double episode the week after New Year's? Let's just fucking pause it for a second. What are we doing here, Lucasfilm PR? If you want maximum eyeballs, you want idiots like myself and Nick talking about on social media.
I think it's mostly because, like, they probably have like run time, like run schedules that they have to follow by. I'm not sure if like it's a like who makes those decisions, but also like if you think about it, the time of like the days are definitely questionable. Like a Christmas Eve drop,
crazy.
But also, if you think about the time of year, this is like historically when Star Wars movies under Disney have performed the best is during this time of year. So I'm sure that they're not too worried about that. But, and then again, you have to think about like, is your family a Star Wars family? And if they are, you'll probably watch it during the holiday.
Well, they can't watch it with me the first time. Like I said, it would be like going to fucking school. No one wants to watch Star Wars with me the first time. That's why I don't do watch parties. Because it'd be like this. Yeah, I'm so excited. Let's start it. Pause. Oh, shit. Hold on. Let me write that down. Go. Oh, shit. Pause. Let me write that down. Go. I mean, that's my view. The last night's episode, maybe 32, 31 minutes. It took me an hour and 15 minutes to get through. If that gives you any insight into the madness that I descend into when I watch new Star Wars to try to pick up on theories that no one's probably going to see outside of my first review, but we try. There, Sir Dork's making me feel good. He's going to be trucking through the holidays too. The only problem is he doesn't have a little kid, so he's not going to have that pull when my little one's sitting at home going, Mommy, where's Daddy been for the past 8 hours on Christmas Day? Did Santa take him away? What the fuck's happening? Where is that deadbeat dad? So we'll see. We'll see. All right. Just keep your eyes posted. Okay. I may do something Friday of Christmas week. I'm probably most likely going to do something Thursday, Friday, and New Year's week. But you never know. You never know. I am absolutely insane. So that's really what it comes down to. Hey there, Lord of Thane. Good to see you, buddy. Hey, y'all. Must be coming from the South. Oh, this isn't good news for me, Nick. Bill Belichick just became the next head coach. Oh, Jesus. Well, now no one's going to win the playoffs outside of UNC. and
the next head coach of who?
UNC.
Oh.
So he's going to turn that into Alabama 2.0 more than likely, because I mean these days
we'll see.
You can just recruit whoever you want, pull kids from whatever. They'll probably get a lot of Ohio State players because they just lost their wide receiver coach who has recruited Jeremiah Smith and some of the best talent in the country. And if Ryan Day doesn't win against Tennessee, he's definitely getting fired. So Jeremiah Smith will be transferring probably to UNC. You heard it here first. All right. Oh, Lord of Thane coming straight from Bavaria. That's fucking awesome. All right.
In Germany.
There you go. You can hang out with Mike Kramer. He's coming to Austin for the playoff game. All right, thanks, chat. Let's get back to the action at hand here. And it's Kramer asking me, thoughts on playing Tennessee in the first round? I'm going to Clemson, Texas. Well, listen, man, I've been here before. I know Ryan Day's big time game record. It's not good. I don't care that it's in Columbus. I don't care that it's night. I don't care that it's going to be cold. I'm pretty sure Heupel is going to have Tennessee way more prepared and ready to rock than Ryan Day will have the Buckeyes. So I'm expecting a loss. Might still try to get tickets tomorrow just to go to the historic experience of the first ever playoff game in the shoe. But I've got zero hope in the Buckeyes, and I honestly think they're going to become Michigan post Lloyd Carr once Ryan Day gets fired, because all their talented coaches are leaving. And with the portal these days, that means all the players they recruited are either going to follow them or go to a more stable program. All right, so I know the sports talk sometimes drives many of you ultra nerds nuts, so we're done with it. And we're done with question of the week, and we're going to head back on over.
Oh, wait. Can I give you one PSA? And this is a PSA for all Star Wars fans.
Yeah.
I grabbed a Black Friday deal.
Uh-oh.
Okay. This is Star Wars related Black Friday deal. I know that you guys can't see it right now because they're hanging on my wall, but there's a company called Displate, Displate. We are not sponsored by them. This is just a call out by me.
Of course we're not.
And they make, and they make metal posters that hang on your wall.
Oh,
and they have a ton of different properties, and Star Wars is one of them. And I got 3 of them for the original trilogy, but I got the alternate version of ROTJ where it's still ROTJ, but it's Revenge of the Jedi and not Return of the Jedi.
The red one with Vader's helmet. Yeah, I got that one hanging up. Not metal, not as cool as you, but I do have that. Is a good one.
So if you guys are looking for some wall art, I would definitely recommend the Displate stuff. They're super easy to hang up. They just hang up on a magnet. It's like you put a little sticker on your wall. The magnet sticks to the sticker. You just stick the thing right to the magnet. Easy to move.
Oh hell, even I could do that. I'm basically a slow adult when it comes to like man skills. Are you like a real man around the house? Can you do shit? Can you use a hammer and stuff?
Sometimes, yeah. So this past week we installed some new exterior lights on the house, like some
electrician some shit.
I did.
Holy fuck! Yeah, you're way more competent than I am, dude.
Yeah, so we removed the old like coach lights that were on the house, and we put up these new Govee lights in their place. So didn't electrocute one of those. Sir Dork says he's got a Displate, so look at that. He knows they're good quality shit.
Let's get some Sir Dork Displate prints. He had a great one this week of Yoda whacking a clone's head off, and of course there was explosions in it because it is Sir Dork. But come on, man.
Yeah.
We always wanted some super scoundrel Displates.
Yeah, like a lot of our good artist friends, they would look really good on Displates. I got to say that. I mean,
damn
Dork,
Skippy.
Like you said.
Hey, speaking of artist friends, you remember Dank Farrick? I think it was last week.
Yeah.
You shared their Ahsoka Balrog mashup.
Yep.
Contacted us and be like, yo, I don't live in the States. I forget where it was. But he's like, as soon as I can figure out how to do prints, you guys are getting some. So,
hey,
see,
man,
Nick, it begs, it pays the beg.
It pays the beg. It pays the beg.
I did it to poor Jared. I mean, he sends me like his action figures and shit. I'm such a fucking punk. All right. Hey, while we're doing a quick show and tell, and I think he's had to leave the chat, but my man Smit, the Jar Jar humper.
Oh yes.
I've known this guy for 30 years, I think, at this point in time. And he's quite a crafty dude. Unlike me, he actually basically built his house. Like he can build houses. He can draw the fucking blueprint and then build it. Like he's one of those people. Okay, so I always tell him he needs to run an Etsy store, to sell wood shit to people for way too much money. But check this thing out. I don't know how well you're going to see it on stream. It's kind of a clear piece of green plastic. And inscribed on it is one of my favorite monologues from all of Star Wars. It's the best monologue in all of Star Wars. It's Luthen Rael's speech about what did he sacrifice.
Yeah. Damn, that looks sick as hell.
So Nick, this clear piece of green plastic sits on an LED and it kind of lights up.
Yeah.
So it almost looks like a hollow panel of Luthen's speech. It's fantastic.
Get Smitty. Yeah. Fucking EKU Rory. That's the name that the chat knows him by.
That's right.
Get your ass an Etsy store and start selling that shit. That is sick as hell. You could sell that for a profit for sure.
Young Nick, I've tried my hardest to get this dude to do like an Etsy side hustle, but because he has ethics, he won't do it.
No, what do you mean ethics?
Well,
that's something that the people want.
Let's just say it has nothing to do with the license raping. He's fine with that.
Yeah.
It's that a lot of the production happens not at his house. If you catch my drift,
I catch your drift. I catch your drift.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. There we go. We're already lining up. We're lining up buyers for him. Come on, Smith. Where you at, bro?
Well, look, Smitty. If something happens to be available, maybe you just set up an email address that some of these people can reach out to you. They see if there's any extra supply. If you get my drift.
I'm letting him know. He also made. I wish I could drag it down here. For my wife. I mean, he's a quality human. Let's just say that. He made a big wood sign for my wife that says "Merry Sithmas" in Star Jedi font. Like, come on.
That's awesome.
Perfectly cut because he's got all the programmable machines. So, all right. Well, that was fun. That was a little show and tell. You never know what you're going to get on an episode of the Star Wars Time Show. You know what I mean? So let's go. Look, Darth LVJ's like, sign me the fuck up, dude.
Right there. EKU Rory on IG. That's his Instagram.
There you go, Rory. He just got outed, bro. It's coming. He'll turn his account private now. He doesn't. Yeah, he's not a very social guy, so we'll see. Welcome to the Star Wars Time Show crew, Rory. You're fucked now, bro. Harass his ass. Do it, LVJ.
He's been harassing us with Jar Jar shit for years.
That's right. It's time for a little payback. All right. Anyways, real quick, Nick, before we get into our,
there he is. I've been had.
Oh, he's in here. I'm telling you, he's going to change his account. He'll probably delete his account. You know what I mean?
So what you do is you make a side hustle account that's just named something else and nobody can link it to you.
Woodman 420. I got it right there. Woodman 420 or Woody.
There you go.
Woody 420. All right. Sorry, buddy. I guess make your account private if you don't. Hey, dude, it's the Star Wars Time Show fan base, so it's not like we've got thousands of people that just heard that. It's probably about
you'll get probably 10, about 8 10 people. DMs maybe.
All right, dude, before the breakdown, real quick, we got an update from the showrunners of Skeleton Crew, John Watts and Christopher Ford. I love that they're doing this. They're essentially trying to speak it into an existence. But they gave us some insights, Nick, on Skeleton Crew Season 2. What do you think, boys? And they're like, yeah, of course. I'll just read it. They're like, yeah, we 100% have an idea for a second season and know what we would do. Smart. We have a built-in ticking clock of the kids and their age, and by the time we would get production going, we know what age they would be. So we would be writing towards that. You'll be growing up with the kids. It would be something like a 3 to 4 year time jump to make sense. We haven't seen the kids in a while, so it just depends on how tall the kids are. But we wouldn't do like a Stranger Things thing where we're like, it's the next day, because it won't be. And then, Nick, real quick, they ended on one more quote, just addressing the fact, like, listen, we know the time it takes to make these types of shows, and we know our kid cast is going to age. So they go on to say it's built into it that it would be a bigger time jump forward because it does take so long to get things moving. This isn't like it would take place the next day because the kids are going to be older. There are so many repercussions. It's like you kind of want to catch up later. So listen, I think this is great. These dudes clearly have had a plan for a while. This isn't something they just whipped out of their ass. I mean, Nick, they probably had a plan for season 2 when they finished season 1. They're like, you know what? I feel like we did something pretty good here. So let's put this out in the world. And what do you think? I mean, I think the time jump is very smart for a kid cast. I think he can do all sorts of stuff with it. I mean, let's be real. Until we get like a firm check-in on some of these Mandoverse era characters, this story, quite frankly, people could be taking very early on in the Mandoverse. Yeah. It could be happening before Mando season 1. We don't know, because like the people of At Attin, we're kind of blind to what is happening in the galaxy. So I think what they could do here potentially, if this season is not right in, but I think they did say it should be around Ahsoka Mando season 3, but who knows? They could technically age the kids up to the current Mandoverse timeline, or even if they go a little bit beyond that, I think aging the kids is smart, right?
Yeah, it's definitely smart. And I like the call out on Stranger Things, because holy shit, when the final season of Stranger Things comes out,
they're going to be in their 20s, right?
Yeah, like these kids are supposed to be near the same age as they were in the last season, and they're going to be so, like, it's just going to be so weird watching it. Like,
maybe that's why they wait 2 or 3 years in between seasons, just so we're all like, who cares? I mean, it's been so long
like
anyways.
We're just excited to have it
we just
back.
want to see the end.
Yeah, we're just happy that it's here. But I think the primary thing that I took from this is that I mean, I may be reading way too much into it, but it seems like at the end of this show, it's going to end in a way where it will allow for a 3 to 4 year time jump, right? Because
that's what I'm kind of saying. Like, technically, this season could be taking place, right when the New Republic was kind of getting its footing. Maybe that's why Tiva didn't show up in this episode. Maybe he's not the captain doing the ranging yet. I mean, I'm going out on a limb on that one. But like you said, it should end in a way that we could jump 4 years and it's not really going to bumblefuck what is happening in the Mandoverse at large.
Yeah. I don't think it's going to have a massive impact on the galaxy as a whole. I do think that this is going to be a relatively focused show that's like kind of focused around like the characters and the pirates, and not expand too much out into the larger galaxy. I think that when the show was in pre-release and like we were still getting trailers and getting information, them speaking about like, oh, they're delving into a galaxy that is more dangerous than they would have thought. I think it is in reference to like the pirate side of things.
Right.
So yeah, I do feel like at least season 1 is going to be relatively isolated to like the pirates who are connected to the pirates, which we now know that at the very least that this Kim character is connected to pirates. And then we saw like very minimal Republic, like Republic interference thus far.
Yeah.
So I don't imagine that we'll see like Din or we'll see any of like the bigger players.
Yeah, I know there's a lot of people, and listen, you and I, we kind of called for this in our prediction episode. We're like, bounty hunters could be on the table, and ding, 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 we're fucking right again, right? Because Brutus unleashes the bounty hunters. The New Republic now knows that there's a pirate, a Crimson Jack, is out on the lam, so. Could they hire Din? Maybe. I'm with you. I think he would be too big of a distraction in this season. I could see Zeb coming in, but again, you and I predicted that already. So once again, we are awesome. Everyone else is kind of slow to the game, but we'll let them catch up. I'm thinking here, think about this in season 2 with them aging and whatnot. What are we learning this whole first season? These kids have lived in a bubble their whole lives. Everyone on this planet has lived in a bubble. The whole second season could be them being exposed to the actual galaxy at large, and learning and then, everything that happened, and choosing what faction they might side up with.
Yeah, and I mean, it could be even larger than that. It could be At Attin as a whole being reintroduced to the galaxy after who knows, thousands of years, at the very least, hundreds of years of being disconnected from the galaxy as a whole. Like at the end of this show, we may have like the reintroduction of At Attin to the larger galaxy. So a lot of cool things that could happen towards the end of this show going into season 2 for sure.
Yeah, so that was pretty cool. And honestly, the way this thing's tracking, I think there's a good chance. I mean, so far,
I hope so.
We had someone in here earlier, Julia. She didn't necessarily love it. She wasn't being that trolly, but it was the first time I've seen a negative comment on Skeleton Crew. But I think it's tracking pretty well. All right. Well, you know what, people? It's time to get down and dirty with Skeleton Crew episode 3. AKA, I forget what they called it. What was the title again? I like that in this show, the title is a direct quote from the episode, always. Very interesting, as an astrogation problem. That's the name of S1E3 here.
Yeah.
So I always do this. If you are new here, the way we do our deep dives, each of us will give a quick little review, our thoughts on the episode, and then we'll start to peel the layers back with top moments, Easter eggs, references, and then something we call And the is usually where we really start spinning that speculation spit. So, Nick, since I've been talking for an hour now, why don't you let the people know what you thought of episode 3 of S Crew?
Yeah, I mean, I've really enjoyed every episode so far, this one included, and I really do think that we hit on a lot of our speculation notes.
We're awesome, dude. I mean, I'll be the asshole. Don't worry, you can be the humble one. Yeah.
So we definitely got, Jod kind of taking control, even at the as Fern protested the whole way through.
It's exactly what you said last week about this episode. Like, Fern's going to be the one that's like, no, I'm the boss, and that's exactly what Nick called. So again, we win. Yeah.
So fun stuff there. Just the dynamic between Jod and everybody else. I mean, he's clearly not playing this as subtly as I thought he would. I thought he would be like a little bit more subtle in terms of his presentation to the kids. But as soon as they got out, he's like, fuck it. I got to get out of here. Like, everybody just follow me. I'll get us to where we got to go. And he's also not really playing up like the Jedi side of it as much as I thought he would either. So the way that John,
remember, he never said he was a Jedi. He's not lying.
Yeah, he is not lying. He's not lying. But whatever you want to call him, Jod, Captain Jack, Crimson Jack, Silvo, Captain Silvo, whatever, he is definitely like on a mission now. Like, now that he fully believes that these kids are from At Attin, you can see like the glimmer in his eye. So I really enjoyed just like the escape from the prison, him using the Force. Like, he's definitely using the Force, at least so far from what we can see, using the Force to make their way through Port Borgo, back to the ship, get off of there. And then I just loved all of the interactions with Kim. I think that Kim is such a good character for Star Wars, because it harkens back to like what old aliens used to look like in Star Wars, right? Like, that's where
the puppets are killing. They're stealing the show.
Yeah, I mean, they're fantastic. I love the owl, like the fact that she was based off of an owl is just like flying around her little observatory.
Did you see the full head turn when she's like, "What? Yeah. You guys never heard of the war?" Like, what?
I know, it's so great. I loved that character. I love the portrayal. It fits in Star Wars so well. It really does. Like, it brings Star Wars back to its roots in a way where it's like, hey, this is a story that we're telling that is pure fun and is definitely made for kids. But like, if you're a Star Wars fan and you're an adult, regardless of how old you are, you can enjoy this too, because you will feel that nostalgia that's there for like the original trilogy and stuff like that. So big fan of the episode. I'm very excited to see where things go from here now that, Kim has betrayed Jodna / Crimson Jack and how they plan on.
Who do you think was she just talking to just a random New Republic operator first, like that other female voice?
I think so. I think she was probably just like reaching out to the New Republic in general to be like, look, I got this fucking criminal guy at my house.
Yeah, because she ends up saying like, all right, we'll dispatch 2 X-Wings or something like that. I believe is what is said.
Yeah. So Yeah, I mean, overall, I thought that this episode was really good. It took a different direction for Jude Law's character than I expected it to, but it is very intriguing that like he has basically dropped all pretense and is like, look, I'm interested in getting to At Attin as much as you are, so that's what I'm going to try to do. But my reasons are way different than yours. So, I big fan.
Well,
big
I
fan
mean,
of this.
I got plenty to say on Jod, and we'll get to that after my quick little ditty here. But I'm with Nick. I mean, Jude Law and his character Jod Nawood / Silvo / Crimson Jack immediately stood out as top tier. I mean, we already knew the kids kicked ass in the first 2 episodes. I was a little worried that he might dominate that, but he plays with them perfectly. I mean, it is a perfect mashup of talent there, both an adult actor and the kid actors. Jude he's masterful. He is. I mean, he stole this episode. Any scene he was in, he ate it up. I mean, all you were was focused on him, what he was doing, what he was saying, his actions, his looks. I mean, just all the intangible shit that Jude Law did really adds to this character. The facial expressions, the reactions. I mean, just look at his face when he learns that the kids didn't know Alderaan is fucking destroyed.
Blown up.
He's like, oh shit, like these kids really are from this mystical planet. I mean, Jude Law nailed it. I love Jod Nawood. I love thinking about his past. I'm going to have some theories on that once we get more into the Hutt type of stuff. And like Nick said, we were given a lot of good nuggets here. I mean, the dude, in my mind, is clearly Force sensitive. I absolutely do not think he was ever a Jedi. What I do think, though, is that my theory of him being the progeny of Force users of Jedi is really starting to line up better than I even possibly imagined. And hear me out. I mean, there's a line in particular when they're about to leave Port Borgo and they don't have SM-33, and Fern's like, hey, you know, Jedi don't leave people behind. And Nick, if you watch his reaction to that, he's about to say, that's not true. Yeah. As in, I was left behind by a Jedi or the Jedi. And I really do think his mom, whoever, might have lightly trained them. That's why he can do just the basic shit, the force distraction, the clapper light switch. But he's got a chip on his shoulder about the Jedi in particular and what their order is and who they are and what they meant. So it does feel like he is a bit spurned from the Jedi, probably his mom, and being left. We also learned, I mean, the kids kind of forced him to reveal a bit about his actual past. And he's like, I'm just like you. I'm lost and alone. So think about a little Jedi kid during the Purge being left by his mother to try and keep him safe. You know what that's going to do to a kid. It's going to fuck them up. So yes, this is why he's a scoundrel, why he became a space pirate, why he's searching for this big score to finally feel like he's made a name for himself. He's accomplished something. He survived. He did it. Against all odds, Jod Nawood survived the predicament his Jedi mother left him in. And I really think that's what we're going to learn. So I love the character. I think he's awesome. I mean, he's got so many layers that we don't usually get in a Star Wars character. They're either going to be Han Solo, you're a scoundrel, Luke Skywalker, you're a good guy. This dude immediately is a mix of both. You can tell he kind of feels a pull to do good stuff, right, Nick? Why would he go rescue SM-33 outside of just to keep the kids in his good or keep him in the kids' good graces, right? Like he's got some good in him, I think. As we know, he's a motherfucking scoundrel space pirate. I mean, so much so that he's being hunted by the New Republic, and his former friend Kim is the one that sold him out. So he's a very dynamic, interesting character. Can't wait to see him actually pull the mask off. I think that's going to be very interesting. And really, the rest of the episode maintained the excellence. Cinematography, fantastic. Practical effects, fantastic. Kids, fantastic. The slow drip of the 3 core mysteries, fantastic. We clearly got a lot more about Jod. We got more about At Attin. The only mystery I feel like was kind of put on the back burner was the Onyx Cinder itself and what the hell it was doing on At Attin on its back for probably thousands of years. And finally, Mick G, the composer,
Dude, he's killing
he's
it.
got some fucking Johnny Dubs in his blood. I mean, fuck his dad. Like, fuck Mike. Mick is the talent. You can't tell me, people, when we made it to that moon base and you heard that like woo, woo, like the 1960s sci-fi woo-woos. Oh my God. Like, come on. The guy is a maestro. So yeah. Skeleton Crew episode 3, maintaining the excellence, giving us what we want, and leaving us wanting more, so much so that I spent almost an entire day thinking about what's coming next and what we just saw.
Yeah, no, dude, I'm excited to see the show continue. I'm excited to see what comes next. I feel like they're doing a really good job of not really like, cliffhanging you on every episode, but just leaving you wanting more. And I felt that about other shows too. Like I felt that about The Acolyte, and I felt that about Mando, stuff like that. And I think that this one is also doing a really good job of like, hey, this was really cool, but there's more to come. There's more to come. Still like teasing out things and like still making the audience realize that like, yeah, you may have found out a little bit about some of the mysteries, but there's way more to be revealed in the future. So big fan thus far.
Yeah, I'm like prop. I mean, all of us. I mean, the cliffhangers, it's like, damn it, gotta wait 7 more days. And eventually it's gonna be, damn it, gotta wait till Christmas Eve when I probably shouldn't be watching this anyways. You know what I mean? So all you youngins out there that don't have families and you can just watch it in your hole, you're lucky. I'm still glad I got a family, but I'm telling you, if you can't tell, I've been talking about this since August, by the way. All right? That's how long I've let this shit stew in my head. And that's why I talked about it at therapy last night, because I can feel it. As soon as I told my guy, I'm like, oh, guess what? The worst thing happened. I finally had a video hit, and now that's going to compel me to want to create more. But I think, don't worry, I think this one's going to fail, which is going to suck all the wind out of my sails, and I'll be back to thinking I'm a big, fat loser. All right, dude, let's get into the nitty gritty. I think we kind of covered the Jod stuff. Do you have any more theories or speculations on his past and why he is who he is, outside of potentially being left behind by a Force user to fend for himself, to keep him safe, even though he probably felt like he was abandoned?
No. I mean, I think that's probably what we're going to get for his backstory. The one thing that I did want to call out is just watch when he uses the Force. Like, and compare it to other Jedi that you've seen.
He's really got to think.
He's also very intentional with his movements. Mm-hmm. Like when he pushes a button with the Force, he like uses his fingers to like as if he's really pushing the button. Whereas if you watch like Kenobi or other like Jedi who are really in tune with the Force, they can do things that like are just very subtle and have the Force do what they want it to do. It seems like he almost has to like do the motion of what he wants to do to get the Force to do what he wants. And I think that's very interesting. You could tell that he's still learning it, even at his age.
Think this, Nick. It's similar to something we've seen recently, about a year ago. Sabine trying to use the Force. Yes. It's kind of like that. Where, again, everyone's got Force in them. It just comes easier to others. And I think this is a case. I mean, if we are speculating that he comes from a Force user, obviously he's going to have more juice than Sabine Wren. But if he never trained in it, and obviously the time he was growing up, the Jedi were being genocided, so he had no one to guide him. He was probably not a Padawan. He probably was hidden away. So, yeah, he doesn't understand how to tap into it fully, and I'm with you. He really has to put forth a concentrated effort to use the Force. He's not just willy-nilly throwing it around. I know, some people out there, well, it could still all be parlor tricks, and yeah, it could. I mean, he could have thrown a rock at the guys to make a sound in the prison that we didn't see, and he could have timed the lights on the cinder, but I don't know. I think I'm going to stick to, the guy's got latent Force abilities. Some other points on Jod, actually, Nick, I just looked up, I do have here. I think what I like the most, especially about the early part, is the boys bought right into him being a Jedi. Again, they're the ones that labeled him a Jedi. I mean, Wim especially is like, oh yeah, shit, we're saved. We got this guy. I mean, we got to trust anything he says. He's a Jedi. He's good. And then, Neil buys in. But then the girls as they have been since we met them, are very skeptical. They're, you know, Fern's like, we can't trust this guy. Hell, she wants to leave him on Port Borgo after he promises to go and get their droid. So I appreciated that. You could tell that Jod knew immediately who his allies were, and he definitely played that up early on. I mean, he was throwing out corny Force sayings, and while he never called himself a Jedi, he definitely never corrected Wim and Neil.
Yeah, no, he didn't correct them at all, and he's not saying outright, like you said, he's never said he's a Jedi, but he's going to allow them to believe that just so they don't fight him as much.
Correct.
I think that's the whole thing. It's like he just needs their buy-in so he can just do what he needs to do, and he doesn't want to lie. He doesn't seem like he necessarily wants to like outright lie to them, but he is going to take advantage of their naivety if they allow it. So. Yeah.
B-Matt's bringing up the line where, you know, remember they're like, oh, KB has the Force too, and then it was,
dude, I was gonna bring that up.
Jod
too.
says the Force moves through us. So I mean, you can tell he probably was like listening to his mom, or maybe he got a book from her.
Heard that stuff.
He knows the sayings. He does for sure. Yeah, that's another good point, B-Mad. We got a very light check-in on SM-33 and the Onyx Cinder when him and Jod were kind of having a heart-to-heart, and SM-33 is like, yep, they're definitely from somewhere. And he leaves and he goes, and then he comes back, he goes, It's like, all right, SM, we love you, pal. Okay, you know what? Let's clear through the known stuff, and we'll see where this discussion takes us to really start getting into some of the speculations. Don't worry, I've got all sorts of shit to talk about at Attin. I mean, Kim hooked us up. If you're paying attention, you gotta listen to the words she was saying. You might have even had to look up the words and what they mean to fully understand what she meant. But at this point in time, let's just go ahead and let's go through some of the top moments. I counted 2. Nick might have one. And then we'll get through some of the Easter eggs and references, and then we'll really kind of hammer on some of these speculations, specifically with At Attin when we cover some of the Haas here. So, Nick, to me, the first top moment, honestly, the whole Jod not Nawood being in this episode could be a top moment in and of itself. But I really enjoyed his rescue of SM-33 from start to finish. I love that he took the risk to get back onto Port Borgo. We learned clearly that, yes, he is Silvo. I mean, everyone's panicking. Silvo's gone, but he still went through it. I love that he toured all those old droids. A lot of them we'll talk about in the Easter egg section because those are very familiar. We even got I believe, a practical B1 for the first time. Yeah. And the great little chat with Benekis, voiced by Alfred Molina. And really, you know what? I'm kind of glad they just wiped away and picked right back up with him being chased on those little ferries where, you know, you got a full-size human trying to drive this thing where a little teak's supposed to be in there. You got space pirates hanging on the outside of the chassis of the other ones. The kids are freaking out. He runs in. He's like, go, go, go. And then, you know, they get in the Onyx Cinder. They can't get away from their moorings, and they absolutely cluster bang Port Borgo by jumping into hyperspace and then essentially ricocheting a large steel cable back into Brutus's port. It was beautiful.
Yeah. I mean, that whole scene was so fun to watch. It just goes to show you too, like, look, this guy is not concerned about the hubbub around him. Like he would, you know, like he was trying to stay stealthy at first, but as soon as that conversation started in the droid bay, he knew. He was like, fuck it, it's just over. Like, it doesn't matter how many people hear me now. I just got to get the fuck out of here.
I imagine it was probably like Han and Chewie running around on the Death Star like, you know, when they turn the corner and there's a whole fucking battalion of them. So, I know there were some people bitching like, oh, we would have liked to see more of the escape. But you know what? I think that's why this show is so fun to watch. Its pacing is perfect. Like they don't fart around with anything. There's no farting around in Skeleton Crew. And last little bit on this scene. Did you not love how Brutus just bossed? Like literally just stood there as the thing was coming crashing down at him. He's like, I'm not moving.
Yeah.
He's like, I am Brutus. Hear me roar. So
Just stops right before him.
But again,
I love
it's
that. Yeah,
something you and I called. I mean, he immediately looks at Gunther and he's like, "Yeah, let's get the bounty hunters." So let's riff on that a bit. Who do you think we're going to see? Is it going to be all famous bounty hunters, or do they scale it back and we just get one that we know and love or hate?
Yeah, I mean, if there's any chance to dabble into the Mandoverse, I mean, now's the time to do it. I don't think that we'll get Boba because I think that he's obviously retired his.
Well, remember though, he did say to Fennec, like, you know what? I don't want to do this shit anymore. Let's get back to kind of doing what we did. So
yeah. It could be Boba, but I think that there's still a possibility that we get some of the old favorites like Dengar and well, I guess it depends on, you know, are they following some of the comic threads where some of the famous bounty hunters have expired, like Forlom's dead from the comic run, right?
They found his head somewhere. I don't know if they would say his head got ripped together.
But yeah, I mean, I would expect to see some of the more famous bounty hunters. You know, I would expect to see Dengar. I would expect to see Forlom if they put his head back on.
Forlom would be
Zuckuss,
good. He would be a good one for live action. And then, of course, I mean, now the New Republic is going to be in pursuit. And that's where I think Zeb could come in. I know some people are talking about in our Discord today. If you want to join, it's open access. Just hit the link in the description of this video. I just think, and I was wrong on this before when I was like, they'll never bring Luke Skywalker and then Mandalorian, but Din in this show would be like a vacuum. You know what I mean? It would just be like he would suck all the attention away from the main story and the mysteries. Yeah. This show's it's not about like, oh hey, let's give Din and Grogu a cameo. This show is, I think, laser focused on these characters, how they're going to grow and where they're going to end up. Yeah,
I will say though, it's got to be fucking hard for Lucasfilm to not bring Grogu into this show and just have a scene where it's all the kids reacting to Grogu, like just seeing him for the first time.
Nick, you're making a good point. Bat's doubling down in here with Caps. Mando is coming. I don't know. I mean, Mando's always coming, if you know what I mean. Pop, pop.
But I mean, I could see them doing it for like, I don't know. I mean, maybe one episode. I just don't think. The thing that I don't want to see is like he comes in and then, like you said, kind of sucks all the air out of the room and then like kind of takes the show over. If anything, I would want him to show up just like for a part of an episode to help out in a jam and then get out.
Yeah, don't book a Boba Fett us, motherfuckers, where he gets a whole episode.
Yeah, like you really, in my opinion, have to use him sparingly because you kind of already have somebody there who's leading the kids and not necessarily, you know, in a good way. You know, it's Jod Na and he's working towards his own ends. That being said, his own ends are to get the kids back to At Attin because that's where he wants to go anyway.
Yeah, so I mean, he's going to help him till he doesn't need him anymore. I'm kind of like Nova. What Nova said, like, hey, Din tracks him down, then lets him go once he finds out it's kids. I mean, the New Republic knows there's kids on there, so he's probably going to know going into it. I don't know. I'm going to be the anti-Din in Skeleton Crew guy. I like Nick. I'd like to see some bounty hunters we haven't seen yet. We know, but we haven't seen yet. So I think Dengar would be a good one for sure. Or a, you know, kind of a low hanging fruit one, not as popular as a Dengar, not an Executor Bridge bounty hunter type, if you catch my drift.
Yeah. I mean,
okay,
just fully dig into the pirate scoundrel underworld side of this show.
Right.
I think would be a good way to go.
Oh, speaking of pirates, and the guy that plays Vane followed us on Instagram somehow. It's like Martin Metalis or something. I'm getting that might be coming through our boy SW Props. I think he reps him. Who knows? I'm all about it. Yeah, awesome. Like what Jared's saying, what if Din's like, oh, hey, Crimson Jack, good to see you again. Like, because honestly, I mean, Jod clearly has a name around the seedier parts of the galaxy, right? I mean, what do you think he did to Kim to piss her off so bad?
Oh, dude. I mean, I gotta imagine that like he had like a job with her or like was working with her on a job and didn't give her cut or something like that. It has to be something.
Yeah, because he said similar. He's like, I would never have came back here unless I knew I had something worth it to you to make up for essentially what I did to you.
Yeah, exactly. Like he had to like leave her hanging out to dry somewhere, or like never made good on a deal that they made when she was like giving him information on the location of places, because that seems to be her thing, right? It's like she is an astro navigation expert. Like she can get you from point A to point B in the best way possible, avoiding all, New Republic patrols or staying out of.
She probably gave him a lead and he screwed her over, right?
Yeah, that's what I would imagine.
Maybe even got her in trouble with the New Republic, and that's why now she kind of works with
called him up.
Yeah, she cut a deal, right? She's looking for leniency or something.
Yeah, it's like, look.
Mando mugshots with a good one. Chrysanthemum would be great.
Chrysanthemum would be cool.
That's what I'm talking about. Fuck Din. I love Din and Grogu, but come on. They're going to get a goddamn movie. They're getting a crossover. They're getting another movie. It's enough. It's enough.
They got a lot of stuff. They got a lot on their plate.
We're Jadna and Nawood over here. You know what I mean? All right, so another top moment I had identified, Nick, and again, it involves Jadna, but this time the kids, and it was the escape from Kim's moon base. I mean, literally starting from the moment he realizes that she's trying to fuck him over. I thought Ravi, and I hopefully I'm pronouncing his name correctly. I love when Ravi turns as Wim and he goes, what just happened here? Like, these poor kids are like, what the fuck is going on? I mean, we thought this guy was Jadna in the Wood. They're calling him Crimson Jack. This lady seemed all nice. They said they're friends. Now the New Republic's coming and these two are fighting. He's like, what is happening?
Yeah, dude. Like, the kid, I mean, just imagine these kids, like, literally, like 2 days ago, a day ago, they didn't even know stars existed. Like, they couldn't see beyond the barrier that is surrounding their planet. They'd never seen a starship before. And now they have taken off in a starship, gone to light space, gone to a pirate port, and are now being chased by New Republic after their Jedi friend is being turned in by
for being
some
a scoundrel.
random owl.
I mean, literally, Kim's like, get away from him. He's a piece of shit.
And like, I know we haven't got there yet, but like, I also loved how Kim pulled KB aside and was like, don't believe everything you say, because she can tell that KB is like smart enough to like see through a lot of this stuff. So I like those interactions that we had with KB in this episode.
Hey, Nick, are they setting
specifically around
her up to be the Force sensitive, or is this all her cybernetic enhancements?
Yeah, that's what I was kind of trying to figure out, right? Because like you mentioned earlier, there was that the scene when they were waiting in the hallway.
If we'll talk about during our eggs, but it's actually when an interrogation droid comes through. So I'm thinking, well, that could have been her implants.
She could have picked it up
picking that
on
up.
her implants.
But you are right. I mean, why? Well, I guess KB kind of walks over to see if she's all right, but it did seem like Kim's like, no, you're the one that needs to hear this the most. Yeah,
and it might just be because like KB is like it seems to be the one that is positioned as like the smart techie one, and like Kim can kind of read it in her that like she's already not believing what is being fed to them by Jadna. So just encouraging her to like stay curious and not necessarily believe everything that this dude is telling them. Yeah, I'm very interested to see where KB's character goes, because as of now, she has been the quietest of the kids, which is not surprising. But I feel like her role is expanding.
We'll touch back on her because I actually had a for you. I know her parents are supposedly what upset people when they found out that there was going to be lesbians in Skeleton Crews. It's like, really? Like,
okay. There's like 3 minutes of two women sitting next to each other on a couch, and people lose their mind. It's like, just calm down.
But anyways, just wrapping this top moment. I mean, from there, once they leave there, then we get a little bit of honesty from Jod. You get SM-33 up there, essentially like the enforcer, light and blow torches. Like, come on, motherfucker, you better tell us some truth, or you're not getting on this shit.
Like forced honesty, if anything. Like it was basically like, tell us what's going on, or our droid friend is going to have an issue with you.
But then all the hijinks that happen as they're trying to get away. I mean, Jod setting up Neil to fly, and then Wim and Fern going, but I want to fly. I'm the cat, like doing kid shit.
Yeah.
And then really I think it did get me emotional. And this is a credit to Ravi and Ryan, the actors for Wim and Fern. But man, when they lower those turrets, and Ravi in particular, when he sits in it and you see him go all the way up and you see that expression on that kid's face, that's exactly how we all felt when we were kids, dreaming of being in the turret of the Millennium Falcon, blasting TIE fighters, trying to get away from the Death Star. And then, you know, Ryan, the same way, she's got that look of like, yeah, this is what I should be doing. And then they're taking joy and they're trying to claim dibs on who shot a New Republic X-Wing first.
It's like, that was my bolt.
It's awesome, dude. That is, oh my God. I mean, I like just welled up with nostalgia in my gut. It's just like, God damn, the smile on my face, the happiness I felt, the memories that were going through my mind is like, that's what it was like to be a kid loving Star Wars, and these people love Star Wars and they're in Star Wars. So I love the chase. I love seeing Neil's flying skills and him screaming out of his tusk. He's going up and down, the kids shooting shit. It was a great end to the episode. And then you know, obviously we get the cliffhanger where the Commander Kent comes down and Kim's like, if I told you where they're at, you wouldn't believe me, and looks away to the sky. So a quality moment to end out the episode there.
For sure. I will say too, dude, like that moment reminded me of the first time that I rode Smuggler's Run, the Millennium Falcon ride. Cause it's like, you're in it. You're like, this is as close as I'm ever going to get to being fully in the Millennium Falcon and like hitting all the buttons. And like, if you're, you know, doing all the different stuff, like it was so cool. And I also like how each kid has like, Neil's the co-pilot and then KB's the navigator. And then the kids like Wim and Fern are the gunners. So like they each have their own assignment on the ship now. Like it's so great. It's fantastic.
B-Mad's going to have a conniption. We're holding you on the line. It's called the tease, B-Mad. Don't worry. I got all the answers you're looking for. If you don't want to wait, you could just start watching my review right now that's up on youtube.com/Star Wars Time Show. Anyone that wants 14 minutes of my happy ass yapping away about Skeleton Crew Episode 3 and going deep on At Attin, why it is the way it is, what's a proto-republic, what's a PAL blah blah numeral, it's all covered. Don't worry, we'll get there. We will get there. SW Props, you better share this with your team. I can't promise that we'll get that clipped, but I'll try my best. Our opus gets wonky sometimes. Today, Nick, I run it through the one where we can prompt it, and at the end it gave me the double bird. It's like, fuck you, we didn't find anything. I'm like, eat my ass. You didn't find anything. We got nothing for you. All right, Props, I love you too, buddy. As Chris Evans would say, I could listen to Matt all day. See, that's how you. That's what you do over here. You just, as long as you make me happy, life's going to be good for everybody. All right, Nick, let's go through some of the eggs and references that popped up. And the first one is one that I had suspicion that I saw it in episode 1, but I didn't make the call, and I apologize. The screenshot's very dark. But if you look at the, I guess you call them the prison guards on Port Borgo, they are 100% wearing the same armor as Constable Zuvio, who is infamous from The Force Awakens, because they made an action figure of him, Nick, and I don't even think he made it into the movie. But it's like this, it's almost like a big sombrero or like a UFO on top of their head, and it's green and red armor. I'm telling you, it's spot on. So I finally pulled the trigger on that. We had Constable Zuvio look-alike armor wearers on Port Borgo.
Okay. That's a deep cut.
Yeah, that's you know, sometimes I question what I include here. All right, up next, what we just talked about, where I think this is what kind of tipped KB to something was coming around the corner. And if you look at that thing, that's definitely an interrogation droid. Just has a little bit of spray paint on its bottom, you know, so it's not all black. But that's the same thing that Vader used on his lovely daughter in A New Hope to try and get some intel.
Probably a slightly smaller version of that.
I'll give you that. It looked a little smaller. I mean, it could have been how far away they were from it, but it did look a little more svelte, if you would.
It might be like the 2.0 or 3.0 version, since that was like 50 years ago or whatever, back in Imperial days. Right. They upgraded the tech on it. They made it a little bit smaller.
I mean, you know, these assholes probably stole it from somebody anyways. So
for sure.
Who knows? Maybe this is Generation 1. That's why it's small. They got this pre-Empire.
That could be.
All right, next reference is here, and there was a series of them when Jod went to go rescue SM-33, first starting with CZ-D2 9000. We've seen CZ droids all over the place, but the first time we saw a CZ was in A New Hope on the Sandcrawler. It's that creepy-looking white smiley droid that was just kind of sitting there.
Exactly. The face on that droid is, as soon as I saw it, I was like, oh my gosh, they brought that fucking droid back.
It's nightmarish. Like that is a freaky looking fucking robot. And then he runs into this robot that keeps saying like, the prince, I can't find the prince. And hear me out on this, people. I do my research.
You think it's Zizor?
No.
Okay. No, well, I mean, like he was looking for Prince Zizor.
There was an episode of Star Wars Droids that dealt with a lost prince. Okay. Again, I might be stretching this one, but I thought it was very. They don't just make him say, "Where's the prince?" We gotta find the prince for fun. You know what I mean? So yeah. That's what I'm running with. I just searched Prince Droid, and lo and behold, there's some Star Wars Droids content related to that. And then, of course, we get a live action B1 that says, "What'd he say? Have we won?" or something like that. He turns him on for a second and he says, did we win? And then his head falls off. It's like,
yeah. See, when I heard Prince, my first thought was Zizor because he was in the Criminal Underground. Remember Prince?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, like
I'll take it too. I mean,
maybe
they never showed the front of the droid, but based on his look, the shape of his head, he looked like one of the Death Star droids. You know what I mean?
He did.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we have that too. So we're never long. We're never wrong. Always long, if you know what I mean. Okay, another Easter egg here. I talked about or name dropped him earlier, but when Jod is trying to rescue SM-33 begrudgingly, a pirate comes in and starts having a casual conversation with him by the name of, what was he, Benjar Pranik. And when I was listening to it, I was like, you know what? This guy sounds familiar. They're really giving this random alien character some airtime, some dialogue. And sure as shit, the reason why they did that is because he is voiced by Alfred Molina, who most of us pop culture freaks, us geeks and nerds, would know from the Spider-Man Sony trilogy and most recently Spider-Man, No Way Home, one of those deals. As Doc Ock. So that was kind of cool.
That whole conversation was super reminiscent to me of Jack Sparrow and Bill what was his name? The guy fucking Bill from Pirates of the Caribbean 2, Will's father. Bootstrap Bill.
Okay, yeah, I was gonna say I'm not good on that type of stuff.
Yeah, Bootstrap Bill and Captain Jack Sparrow had a very similar conversation in Pirates 2. So that lots of Pirates vibes in this show.
I need to go back and watch some of the Pirates stuff. It's been forever.
Dude, they're pretty good. I mean, like the first 3 are pretty good. 4 and 5, like 5 is definitely questionable. But yeah, original trilogy.
Yeah, I don't even think I touched on 5. And now that he's been exonerated, I'm sure they'll try to drag him out for another one. Why not?
I think they're doing like another Pirates thing, but I'm not sure if he's involved. We'll see though.
All right, we had a quick crash on the horizontal stream, so hopefully their chats come back in at some point in time. It's just, I don't know. It happens on YouTube sometimes. It just absolutely takes a dump. All right, our next one here. What do we got? Okay, this one again is one of these, like, I don't know if you guys are going to believe me or not, but this is what my brain felt when I saw it. Remember, KB was kind of the last one to go to bed, and then we cut to her right away, Nick, and she just pops those eyes open. I got Lobot activation vibes there, man. Like when Lando activates him in Empire, he's just kind of sitting there and his eyes just open because his little cybernetic attachment starts kicking in. I felt like that this scene with KB was a bit of a nod to that. Like I said,
yeah,
I'm stretching it again. I'm sorry, people. I'm sorry, but my mind wanders sometimes.
Hey, it happens.
What's BMAD saying? I'm sure y'all talked about this, but those visors from KB definitely are Old Republic, correct? Yeah, it doesn't look like. I mean, even if we notice, even Kim has an implant that's Lobot-esque, but hers looks more like Lobot's. Where I agree, KB's does seem to be we can't say it's lower tech, but yeah, it's not the same as what other people wear if they have one of those implants, for sure.
Yeah, and that goes along with our assumptions about At Attin. So,
all right. Well,
sure.
We learned another alias for our buddy Silvo/Jadna, and we learned that as he approaches Kim's place, and they call him Crimson Jack. But the reason that's important, Nick, is there's actually been 2 other Crimson Jacks in Star Wars. The first one from a 1977 Marvel comic that involved Han Solo and Leia. It's literally a red-bearded space pirate named Crimson Jack. But then they kind of rebranded Crimson Jack during the sequel trilogy era in another comic book run. So I don't believe that guy is Jadna, but the whole Crimson Jack moniker is not something new to the Star Wars universe.
No, yeah, it's definitely been around for a bit, it seems. So,
and
I am interested to see how he gets all these nicknames. But
I mean, he's a man of mystery. There's no doubt about it. That's why I love him. And of course, he's greeted by a familiar-looking droid known as the TTL-8L/Y7 door droids. This time, I think first time ever, Kim must be very suspicious or take on some shady company, but she had 3 of these fucking things to fully scan and check out whoever is soliciting her services. And a few more here in our Easter eggs and references recap. Don't worry, be mad, we're getting there. We're almost ready to start diving into At Attin and why it's hidden and all the secrets. But we get the confirmation that At Attin, even in this galaxy, not just Chris Ford and J.J. Watt telling us that it was a gem of the Old Republic, but Kim herself says, no, At Attin, I believe in it. It was one of it looks like 9 jewels of the Old Republic. And we even learned that it's the only surviving jewel planet. So we'll talk about that down the line a bit too. So we got an Old Republic mention, and I do think we're getting closer and closer to the one that's at least 1,000 years BBY. But don't worry, I've got evidence. I've got literature for us to look at. We'll get there. Just to get through some of these eggs up next, a fun moment to just remind us that these kids literally have no freaking clue what's been happening outside of At Attin. The only planets they're taught about are Coruscant and Alderaan, which would have been around, Nick, both in the kind of the tail end of the Old Republic, the Republic, the High Republic, all that fun stuff. I've been learning way too much about the fucking republics and their timelines. And then finally, when she does mention that they know about Alderaan and Coruscant, Kim's like, well, so must never heard of the war. And it's like, well, that's the Galactic Civil War. So that kind of wraps up our references breakdown here. And the X-Wing pilot, just in case anyone wanted to know, that was X-Wing Commander Kent, played by Andy Powers, whoever the hell that is. All right, it's time to get into it. I'm going to hit some of the lower hanging fruit stuff, and then we'll spend a chunk on At Attin. But first question I have for you, Nick, is early on from her parents, we learned that KB has a life monitor. Why?
Yeah, I mean, it seems more likely now that the attachment that's on her head is probably something that is like either regulating her nervous system, like maybe KB has some sort of like disease or illness that needs to be monitored through that device. So that would make sense especially for a planet that seems to not have a ton of people that have like cybernetic implants on it, like all of the other people that we saw in At Attin. And granted, it wasn't a ton, but like we didn't see anybody else with cybernetic attachments. Her parents didn't have cybernetic enhancements either. So this almost seems like it's there more as like a regulating something in her body or like keeping her life signs intact while also having the ability to do the stuff that comes along with it. Than just like, it's
definitely tricked out. I mean, she's the one, she was tapped into the Navic computer running hyperspace coordinates there at the end.
Yep. Yep.
Like Nova's saying, a medical device. So, I mean, she could have been in some tragic accident when she was young and needs this thing. Or knowing how goofy At Attin is, what if she did showcase force abilities young and
that's to like tamp them down.
They strap that thing on her head to kind of keep them suppressed.
Could be. It could be for sure. I mean,
this is where the Star Wars intelligence starts to come out here, my friends.
Yeah.
You hear this shit? You don't get this anywhere else. Not until we say it, and then they run it like they came up with it. That's how it happens all the time, right, Nick? Everyone,
that is true.
Everyone steals our clout. All right, so yeah, I thought that was interesting. I don't think that was just casual conversation. You know what I mean? I think that was that's in there for a reason. Also, when the adults were talking, Nick, we got some insights there. I mean, Farrah, Fern's mom, clearly has lived there her whole life. It doesn't sound, even though she's a bureaucrat, the undersecretary, it seems like she's still fully kept out of the loop to what the supervisor is doing. She's got to get permission to even talk to the supervisor. It probably is like a Wizard of Oz character where you don't even really see a human. You just talk to something. So I needed to know that. Like, it was, you never know with bureaucrats. Farrah could have been in leagues with all the weird shit happening on At Attin, but for the most part, even though she's in the admin rank of her communism, it sounds like she still is fulfilling a role to keep the ruse going, and she doesn't know about the ruse for real.
Yeah. It almost seems to me like the supervisor may be like a super intelligence, like an AI that was like built to just, hey, like this is the mission of this planet. This is the mission that all of these people are on. Like, just stay on mission. Like,
it's an algorithm that is only built to ensure that At Attin stays secret, and whatever shady shit they're doing with its eternal treasure in quotes, no one finds out about except those that need to know about it.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
for sure.
The supervisor is BB-8. Good one, B-Man. That would be funny. What else? There are some other questions here. Even that soft opening with all the parents and poor, Wendell looking dejected because he actually saw all this stuff happening. He's shell-shocked. But we learned from the droids, he's like, the supervisor isn't going to make contact with the Republic due to the barrier breach.
Basically, exactly.
And if you listen while all the adults are kind of like going, blah, 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 and he's trying to calm them down, he's like, there will be security action taken for planet-wide protocol breaches. It's just like it was already kicking in, like, oh shit, we gotta figure out, reroute the algorithm. The stuff's getting wonky. Can't break the illusion here. Can't break security. Got to stick to protocols. You know what I mean? It's like, we are in
clearly this is like probably one of the first times that this has ever happened. Because
at least with kids, like innocent kids just stumbling upon something, because there's no starships. I mean, if you look when the episode opens, we get that great landscape shot of At Attin that looks like a city right here in the United States of America. There's nothing flying around. There's nothing.
No.
All you can do is be in that goddamn rail system they built, which it again is control. You can only go where the rail takes you unless you're on a speeder bike and you're a little kid and you jump into the woods.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it's very limited in terms of your modes of transportation that are available to you. Everything is locked down. Like we said before, they can't even see the sky. Like, they don't even know that there are stars out there above them because
Fern was like, there's 1,000 planets.
Yeah, and it's like way more than that.
Yeah,
really.
Kim's like, try like tens of thousands. So I mean, that's another one that goes to show, like, whatever's going on down here, just like I said last week, it's a quarantine of sorts. They are being controlled. They're only allowed to know what the supervisor wants them to know, the power at B. See, I'm with you. It's a very big brother type of society. Only those in the know actually know, and everything else, I do believe, is being ran by automatons, these security droids who literally, their fucking head is a camera.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Literally, I mean, it is the most 1984 thing you could think of, right? Like,
and they're all like, it's just the idea that they somehow escaped on a starship just doesn't even resonate with the other parents that didn't see it happen. I think Wendell, why he's sitting there like, think about him. He probably grew up there too. He'd never seen a starship on that planet.
Dude, no way. That dude's probably thinks he's going crazy because everybody else is like, the droids will come back. They find him. This happens all the time. Like,
oh yeah, it's right. Farrah's like,
droids
oh
will
yeah,
find
well, I used to run away with my friend, and the droids would just grab us from the woods.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's what we've been saying all along, man. I mean, the supervisor to me it's going to be Jeffrey Goldblum. You know what I mean?
I don't think Wendell knows more.
No,
like
they were popping off on this in the Discord. I'm telling you, the dude was fucking shell-shocked from seeing a starship rise from the Earth and his kid teetering on it before it zipped out past a barrier that he never thought starships would come or leave from. That would, I mean, you got to think Wendell's probably in his 40s. As League said in the chat, he's already a latchkey type of dad. He already probably feels like a trash bag that this happened. You got to remember, he just leaves Wim on his own and gives him some gold and says, good luck, pal. Feed yourself. He was wrecked.
Yeah.
I don't think he knows jack shit. The only people that know, I mean, if the undersecretary doesn't know jack shit, a fucking analyst doesn't know jack shit.
Yeah, definitely. And if he knew something, do you think that he would be like playing it coy? He'd be doing everything he could to get out there and find his kid.
Or to link up with the supervisor and be like, yo, dude, like this could fuck up our big plan.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
like
listen, I'm not shitting on anyone's speculations. I am, but it's not going to happen. I really do believe Dad is just wrecked in the head, and that's why he looked way more solemn and kind of out of it than the other parents. That is right, Bat. We shall see. But if you look at my speculation win record, you don't want to fuck with the Chuck. All right. Jod, definitely treasure hunter. Yeah, big deal. We figured that out. Bounty hunters, we handled that. All right. We got a little more insights on the great work when the kids are sitting around eating whatever goo Jod made for them. And they're like, hey, could the great work be tied to the planet treasure? And then what are our parents analyzing? You hear Neil? Neil, he's no dummy. Yeah. He's like, my dad's an analyst, and KB's like, my parents are analysts. Fern's like, well, my mom's an admin. You know what? We never really learned what Wim's dad does. So Bat, I'll give you a little, I'll crack the door a little bit because it's never confirmed if he's an analyst or not. But what are they analyzing? And then you notice the kids immediately hid the money when Jod was coming back. So is this planet just producing massive amounts of monetary resources for some faction that we don't know about? Are all the analysts there just trying to figure out how much cash they can suck out of this planet, or whatever resource or whatever power is known as the internal treasure, how much they can use, how much they can take? And what do you think? What do you think these analysts are doing?
That's what is so confusing to me, because I
kids
don't
want to be analysts. We saw them on career day. They're like, yeah, I want to be fucking analysts. It's like, okay.
Yeah. And the thing is like, you would imagine, like, if it was something of monetary value, that there would have to be trade, right? Like there would be people leaving the planet, and like, even if the people that they were trading with didn't know that they were from At Attin, there would be people leaving the planet. So like a breach of the barrier wouldn't be that suspicious or like that big of a deal or unbelievable. So for me, it almost seems like it has something to do with the planet itself, like some sort of like planetary activity, whether it be like, you know, what's happening with the planetary structure, or like or doing analysis of like of things, or like anomalies that are near the planet. But like, if it was something of monetary value, which seems almost like completely nonsensical to these people, like
they're rolling around with fresh old Republic credits, which are probably worth like $1 trillion more outside of At Attin.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like
they're swimming in gold bars. So I think it is like it's got to be like some sort of resource. Nick, it could be. We were told the other 8 jewel planets of Old Republic were destroyed. Well, how? I mean, were there planet crackers back then? Were there fucking Death Stars way back then that could blow up a planet?
Could it be?
Did nihilists suck them dry?
That is, as funny as that sounds, that is exactly what I was thinking, though. Is like, is this planet like a hub of like force energy?
Mm-hmm.
Like, is this? I'm not saying it's filled with midichlorians.
What's it called again? A vergence.
It could be a place, like a location of a vergence in the force, and that's why it's cloaked. Like, that's why it like
which we
during the
learn
Old
now
Republic
is via
times.
nebular gases.
Yeah, like something that is blocking it from being detected by other starships, by being detected by like Kim's.
I mean, yeah,
scans and
radio
everything
signals
like that.
can't breach that because if you remember,
Even going through the like in Tross when they're trying to like navigate their way through the unknown regions, they had to like use a
also
ship
even more
beacon.
recently than that, Nick, Mando season 3, the whole reason Mandalore and they couldn't figure out the surface of the planet was livable because it had like this, they call it like a nebula cloud from all the bomb radiation and shit that no signal could pierce that. You couldn't pierce it down. If you're on the planet, you couldn't get a signal out. So whatever these nebular gases are, they're some bitch when it comes to trying to find planets that want to be hidden and protected. Remember, she said they were hidden for their protection.
Yeah.
So protection
I mean,
from what? I mean, the Sith army, the Jedi. I mean, it could go anywhere, really.
yeah. I mean, really, if this is like a hub of Force power, it could be from the Sith and the Jedi. Because I mean, imagine if the Jedi found out about a planet that is like super strong with the Force, they would take it over as quickly as the Sith would, except it wouldn't be as harsh of a rule.
Yeah, it wouldn't be
like
all rapey, but they would take it for what they needed it for.
Yeah, like they would occupy that planet as well, probably. So, but yeah, I just can't see it being anything of like particular. Like it can't just be like it's a huge gold mine, because like what does gold mean to these people? Like it doesn't mean shit. And yeah, I don't know. It's
BMAD saying, do you think the Empire knew about the planet? Yes, everyone clearly knows about At Attin. They just think it's a fucking legend. That's what everyone's got to get used to here. I mean, I think Kim did a great job explaining that. She literally says, let me get the exact line here. She pretty much says, blah, 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 where are we at? Now only a legend in kids' stories, pirate shanties, and rumors for fools. And my point is, man, for something to become a legend or a myth, aren't we talking minimum 1,000 years of the truth being passed down and then eventually massaged and changed into a legend, right? It's not just 100 years. I mean, think about our own timeline. We have documented history from 1,000 years ago. We do.
Yeah.
And you don't get a lot of legends from, early 1000 AD. Things are starting to be written down. People are actually passing true history from generation to generation. Before that, in BC, that's why we have things like, I hate to say it, the Bible and stuff. It's legends, right? We're not seeing people living in whales' mouths or torrential downpours that wipe out the entire planet. They're all legends to us. So when we apply that to At Attin and the fact that nobody outside of that planet thinks it's actually real, all they know is that it's a lost, hidden jewel of the Old Republic. So yes, the Empire knew about it. They probably, knowing Palpatine, he might have dedicated some resources because, he's into that mystical type of shit. But it clearly was not their focus, and they clearly never found it. So,
yeah. I mean, it's going to be very interesting to learn about, because you also think about like if this truly is an old Republic planet, like there is going to be information that was just lost to history during the war. Like it could have been like the real information about this planet was lost in an archive that was destroyed during the war between the Jedi and the Sith at that time. Like there's a lot of different ways that this information could be lost to history and myths and legends built around it.
And it was it sounds like it was even being hidden back in its prime. As a jewel of the Old Republic, they were hidden from the galaxy.
Yeah.
At Attin just is the last one standing. I mean, you could argue maybe At Attin destroyed all the other planets to become the main jewel. You could argue the other planets blew up because they whatever At Attin has, it's an unstable resource on the planet that literally can end the planet's life. Maybe that's what the analysts are looking at. They're trying to calculate ways to keep the planet alive.
Yeah, like a natural resource that like in abundance can cause instability. Like there's so many different options. Like I know that like in old canon and in legends, like there was a planetary resource called ionite, which was like very, very explosive and had to be handled very, very delicately. And I mean, if you're thinking about a wartime situation, which was probably what was going on when At Attin was cloaked, like if you have a planet that is just rife with ionite or some other like wartime material, you're going to want to hide that from your enemies as quickly as possible, because if you don't, then the war spreads and you now have a fight over one of the most valuable, explosive resources in the galaxy. So there's plenty of different things that could be at play here for At Attin, whether it be super strong with the Force and the Jedi at that time, where like we have to hide this planet because if somebody like Nihilus were to tap into this, then we're all fucked.
Yeah.
Or, something like that.
All right. Let me address the chat real quick. They're rapid firing some good questions here, starting with BMAD. So At Attin is not a part of the New Republic, correct? They don't even know
Yes.
they don't even know the New Republic exists. You got to remember, BMAD, think about if you were shoved in a bomb shelter your entire life. Let's say you were born in like 1900 and you were shoved in a bomb shelter and you came out when you were 80, you would have no clue that 2 world wars just took place and how that fundamentally changed the world. That's what's happening at Attin. They don't even know the Galactic Civil War took place. They never heard of Darth Vader and Emperor Palpatine. They don't know what the New Republic is. They keep saying the Republic when they mention it on planet, which is the Republic that existed for 1,000 years before the Sith, before Palpatine's plan got executed. What's another one here I saw that I want to address? With the other jewels coming from Divided, with the other jewels of the Republic still exist and they're just hidden, I think they're gone. I think At Attin is the deal. I think Kim kind of made that pretty clear. And Devin saying, I'm calling it the New Republic is going to interfere in a big pirate attack on At Attin because of Kim. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, the main issue now for At Attin is it's assuredly going to get found because the pirates have a beat on this ship.
Oh yeah,
like they're tracking the ship, or at the very least, they are scouring the galaxy for Silvo. So the chances of At Attin staying hidden are next to none for the rest of this, or like by the end of this season.
All right.
Just because there's too many people that are looking for the people who are trying to get back there.
Since we're already keyed in on At Attin, let's just roll through it here. We talked about Fern didn't know about 1,000 Worlds. That just goes to show their innocence and their lack of knowledge about the galaxy at large. They didn't know about Alderaan blown up. They didn't know about the Galactic Civil War. One of the only planets they knew was Coruscant. I looked it up. Both Coruscant and Alderaan have existed in pretty much every version of the Republic back to the old. So makes sense. But I mean, we get from Kim some insights. Just to reiterate here, she confirms that it's an old Republic planet that has been kept hidden for protection by nebular gases. It is one of many jewel planets. The others have been destroyed. Why and how, though? I think we kind of riffed on that. So. As we said, is probably for a resource, but now it has become a legend. So that's the point to drive home here, everyone. If you're not clear on what's going on, At Attin has been a self-contained, controlled information world since its existence. I think, Nick. I mean, once it was identified as a jewel, like the other jewels, it had to go into this protocol, essentially a lockdown. Hide away from the galaxy. Who knows why the other ones blew up? Maybe At Attin did it. Maybe Nihilus, other nefarious forces. But whoever has been born and lived on At Attin, their information is limited to what the supervisor gives them. And it seems the supervisor has no plans to let them know that the Republic hasn't been around, at least in its the form we knew in the prequel era, for over 30 years? More than that?
Yeah, more than that.
They still think the old. Now this is where things get weird, and I want to show some other screens here. So, real quickly, I did some research on Old Republic versus Old Republic. Trust me, it makes sense. But when I pulled that up, so we got the Old Republic, which is KOTOR SWTOR, 25,000 BBY to 1,000 BBY. I think At Attin was doing its thing, probably closer to the 1000 BBY end of the Old Republic. But then it's still just the Republic. It's the Galactic Republic. It goes through its High Republic phase from 500 BBY to 100 BBY. And then, around Acolyte, that's where we see it kind of shift into the Grand Republic that we see fall in the prequels. Now, people also do call that Republic, the one that existed for 1,000 years before Palpatine, that is, even on StarWars.com, also referred to as the Old Republic. But like I said, Nick, and I'm interested in your thoughts, I think At Attin truly is from the Old Republic, and it's probably been hidden for 1,000 years minimum, if not more. I'm sorry, not hidden. I mean lost, because they were hidden even in their prime. I mean lost from the galaxy, became a legend probably for 1,000 years.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely agree that it was around during the old, like the SWTOR, KOTOR, Old Republic timeline. The thing that makes me think that you're onto it about it being hidden since for 1,000 years or so is the great work part of it, right? Like they keep referring to the great work. The great work came up again in this episode when they were talking to Kim. And the great work is something that we know is associated with High Republic time. So that like post KOTOR, SWTOR timeline into the like what would eventually morph into the Grand Republic that we see now. So like the fact that the great work keeps getting brought up makes me think that they are referring to that particular timeline when they're talking about like what is going on the planet, what they're working towards, and everything, things concerning that region.
Yeah, we talked about last week how in the High Republic era, Chancellor Sue or Lon, something like that, she implemented the Great Works with an S. How do leaders usually kind of base what they want to do? They sometimes look to the past. So if they were doing a great work in the Old Republic that was meant to, make potentially a utopian society on these jewel planets, she could have based her great works on that initiative. Like, well, they tried to do this with these planets to make them, to bring peace and love to the galaxy. So I'm going to build Starlight Beacon. I'm going to figure out back to cultivation. I'm going to set up comm relays all around the rims so we can start communicating with each other. So yeah, I mean, I really do. I'm fully committed to At Attin being an old Republic planet. It was hidden in its prime with the other jewel planets of the Old Republic. Those all got destroyed somehow. Somehow At Attin remained hidden. But because everything else was destroyed, At Attin was hidden. It's thousands of years ago. The galaxy currently just thinks of it as a child's story. It's a myth. It's a legend. It's things crazy pirates think about, or lunatics like Crimson Jack looking to get rich quick. And typically for something to become legendized or a myth, as I said earlier, to me, it's got to be 1,000 years minimum of stories getting mixed up and legends getting added to. You know what I mean? I mean, we all, until humans started actually writing down their history, who the fuck knows what initially was being passed down the line orally from generation to generation. And that's exactly what is happening on At Attin. Yeah, for sure. And it seems like they have been instructed on At Attin, or like the instruction for the lockdown of the planet was let no information leak, like let nothing come out of this place. Nothing comes in. You got to think the supervisor that we're thinking could be a Wizard of Oz type of AI. It's probably able to communicate and relay whatever it's doing, whatever it's controlling, kind of status updates like, hey, yeah, these idiots, even 500 years in, they still have no clue that the Republic's gone. There's a new Republic. These idiots don't know shit. The kids, they only know a couple planets. They don't even know that there's tens of thousands of systems in this galaxy. We're doing a great job.
Parents, because the parents were like, well, we have to reach out to the Republic to help. And the droids were like, no contact can be made with the Republic.
Right. No, they're like, we basically broke the rule. They breached the barrier. Tough shit. Supervisor ain't going to make a call. I mean, that's how.
Yeah.
B-Mad saying pre or post KOTOR. Post KOTOR. I think this is like right towards the end, like the 1000 BBY. I think is when At Attin started to become legend. You know, just it enough people that actually knew about it disappeared, and it only became like hearsay after that. Like, oh, you remember those jewels of the old Republic? They're all destroyed, but At Attin. But you know what? It was probably destroyed too. It's not even a real planet. None of them are real because we never got to see them with our eyes. Just like some of us question, were there people floating around in whales' mouths, and could a man split a sea open? It's all the same shit. Like if you can 100% relate what is going on At Attin, how it is a legend, to our own history, where a lot of that stuff from BC is legend.
Yeah, I mean, oral histories always like
unreliable.
Just play a game.
Yeah,
just play a game of telephone. With
exactly.
With like 8 people.
Right.
Like if you play a game of telephone with 8 people, almost assuredly what you say in the beginning and what the last person says is different.
Okay.
Like,
yeah, that was a perfect example right there, Nick. All right, so some other things that kind of lead me to believe what's going on here, and I love this. I mean, hopefully everyone picked up on Kim's reaction to Fern's symbol. I mean, the symbol literally might have got her a little moist in her owl panties, if you know what I'm talking about. I mean, she jumped and flew up to her like, where the hell did you get that? And she explains these things, and this is where we have to know that this At Attin is old as fuck. She says, I have never seen Palmerish numerals used in Proto-Republic artifacts. All right, if you look Proto-Republic up, you're probably not going to find that exact definition, but you're going to see like proto-states, proto-fascism, shit like that. And what proto means when it's coming before another word, essentially it's the predecessor to. It's the preempt of. So if she's saying Proto-Republic, artifacts from Proto-Republic, that is pre-Republic. Okay?
Yeah.
So that to me, again, says, hey, Matt, At Attin, the jewels of the old Republic, it is the old Republic. We're not talking High Republic shit like that. Like, it's old. And I don't know about you, Nick, but these symbols, these Palmerish symbols, are essentially like our Roman numerals, you know, like the Roman alphabet. And who were the Romans to us? They were another great civilization. Yeah, great civilization that, you know, they were the cream of the crop at their time. At Attin, same thing. I put out my review that I think this patch represents the 9 jewels of the old Republic, and At Attin is in the middle of it.
Yeah, it could be for sure. Like it definitely could be. And I'm super interested to see if we'll find out what the other planets are. Like just someone
threw Tanalorr out there, which you probably don't know of. It was in Jedi Fallen Order, but it was essentially a paradise planet that was hidden, and only High Republic Jedi could find it.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, could be.
We know it can't be Tython, right? Because it still existed in Mando.
Tython is still in existence, and people know how to get there.
Yeah. So
that's what I'm trying to think is like destroyed planets. Like, was Alderaan one of them? Like, I don't know why it would be, because it wasn't cloaked. People lived there. No, I mean, they destroyed.
Even you would think, I would imagine, even the people living on the jewel planets, they probably didn't know about the existence of the other jewel planets.
No, almost assured.
Yeah, so I think that they all know just what they know and what they are told to know. But, you know, once Kim ran that symbol through her little computer, I mean, it splits out the symbols that are on the kids' jackets, okay, the little patches. I mean, whatever these Palmerish numerals mean, I mean, it definitely allowed Kim to at least get a much better idea of what pocket of space At Attin could be. And I know BMAT or someone was asking, like, there's no way those coordinates are going to be right to the planet. And I agree. I think she's going to get them pretty damn close. But clearly they're going to be bouncing around. I mean, just based on the trailers we've seen.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think they like KB said when they were trying to ask, when Kim was asking the kids questions, like, what's your planet like? What do you see in the sky? Blah, blah, blah. All this different stuff. KB was like, she's already eliminated 99.99% of the planets. Like, we almost have a good read on it.
Right.
So,
yeah.
But clearly,
yeah. So they probably have a list they have to check, and that's what's going to come on here. You know, Bat's saying Palpy's planet was hidden. It really wasn't, though. Exegol literally had wayfinders scattered throughout the galaxy to lead people to it if you could find the wayfinders. At Attin, there's none of that bullshit. Again, it is not real to everyone else in the galaxy. It's a myth.
The closest thing that we have to At Attin in Star Wars lore now, I think, is probably Kamino, but that was also done intentionally, right? Like Kamino was erased.
Yeah, Count Dooku deleted it from the Jedi archives. So that was just the Jedi. Like just the Jedi couldn't fucking look it up.
Yeah. So, but yeah, another planet that's like fully lost or cloaked or hidden is like hard to pin down.
Yeah, I mean, Exegol's close, but I mean, dude, Vader found it in the comic books back before Return of the Jedi. It's not like At Attin. I mean, At Attin truly, it's so well hidden, people don't think it's real. You know what I mean? And then the Proto Republic stuff to me again just like it squarely puts At Attin and all that stuff in the old. We talked about the kids don't know about the wars. Fern's symbol we just nailed, the Palmarish and the Proto Republic. We talked about how Jod finally cops to being lost and alone, and how I do think he was abandoned for his own safety, even though he probably doesn't believe that. And I think that's it, man. I think we've kind of beat the living hell out of episode 3. So knowing what we know now, what are your thoughts on where things go next week in episode 4?
Yeah, I mean, next week, we're clearly on the run now.
From two factions.
Yeah, we're on the run, and we don't know how to get back to At Attin yet. So I feel like this is going to be a lot of improvisation on Jod Na's part to try to like find another port of call that he can go to while he tries to figure out like the next steps. So we may get into a scuffle. There may be a scuffle coming between the pirates, because we've already had a scuffle with the New Republic. So maybe the pirates are able to track them down in space, find their way, or they run into one of the bounty hunters that has been dispatched by Brutus and his gang, brush them off and try to find like a safe port of call to regroup. Because I feel like that's the biggest thing right now is like, they got some information from Kim, but not enough to lead them back to where they want to go. Right. So they have to find some sort of secondary contact or a port of call that they can go to just to regroup and then figure out what the next step is from there. At the very least, Jod has something to work off of, right? It's like, it's a planet that's probably obscured by nebular gases. So maybe he can make something work there. Maybe he can like try to narrow down his approach to a planet that matches that type of that type of description.
I'm with you. And be mad here. I'll try to address your question. I do agree. I think we're going to another port of call. They may have to. You got to remember, the Onyx Cinder is jacked. I mean, it's really literally as they're flying up to it. Hopefully people notice this. It looks like Pigpen from Charlie Brown.
Yeah, it's like just stink coming off
literally,
of it.
It's just leaking shit. It smells. SM-33, the poor son of a bitch, he's been trying to fix it multiple times now. He was trying to fix it before they took off on the moon base. It got blasted by an X-Wing ion cannon and took out one of its engines. I think it's going to need to stop just to fucking take a break and get some minor repairs. But to hit B-Mad and kind of piggyback off of Nick, that little card that they got, I think it is going to send them to the system they need to be in, or a system that is close to At Attin. And as they start hitting these planets they can actually see on their radar, they're probably going to ask around. They might ask the right people. They may ask the wrong questions that's going to get them in trouble on these planets, because maybe these planets know more about At Attin than they're letting on. Maybe there are some relics on these planets that lead to a clear understanding of exactly where At Attin is. So I think at least for the next 2 episodes, I agree with you. I do think we get a pirate incursion in episode 4, because they weren't very much present in episode 3. So you got to pay off on the bounty hunter thing at minimum. Yeah. Yeah, but yeah, they end up on a rando planet, hopefully one we don't know about, and they're going to probably need to get the ship fixed. But while that is happening, I think they're going to they'll stumble upon a lead or find something on this planet that gets them one step closer. I don't think we make it to At Attin until episode 7 or 8, but I'm telling you right now, they make it because they've already spoiled it in trailers and in behind the scenes footage officially.
You know what? How I hope they find it, and it's going to go right back to episode 2, Attack of the Clones. How did they find where Kamino was? The little kid looking at the star map was like, "Oh, it's right there."
Yeah,
because it has its gravitational pull, where all the stars in that area around it are drawn towards it, but the area where the planet is blank. Like you can't see it. So I do hope in some way they reference that, because I think that was a very clever find by the little kid. And it's like, well, of course it would be there. Just look at the planet's gravity. And that would be another good way for like KB to like use her skills and use her intelligence and her astro like navigational knowledge that she's clearly putting to use now as the navigator on the ship. Like that would be a cool way to do it, and a good callback to it.
Like B-Mad's saying, I mean, is it like a holocron? Yeah, it could be a wayfinder type of device. That's what I'm thinking. I do think they're going to use these other planets as a way to not only, expand upon the Star Wars universe for us fans, but also to give our characters new people to meet, new hijinks to get into, trouble to face. But there's going to be breadcrumbs every stop they make that's going to lead them to their end goal. Hey there, Steve, last name. Yes, nerds is a dirty word. I prefer to go by geek. I can actually function in society, and unless I tell you I'm a geek, a lot of people can't tell. I am wearing Darth Vader boots, though, so you might have me dead to rights. They showed up, Nick. You ready? Let's see if I can kick my leg up here. There they are. $200 Columbia Darth Vader boots.
There you go.
Just what a little man like myself needs. I'm waiting for my hoodie, half tech Z or half zip tech T-shirt, and my convertible jacket. They're lost in New Jersey right now. But I ended up going about 700 this year on the Columbia Star Wars thing, and feel a little dirty. Especially right around Christmas time. Daddy don't need to be doing from dad to dad on presents that big. You know what I mean? Yeah, I got them all, dude. I should be a Columbia affiliate for us, because I got Sir Dork to buy one, Bat bought one. I don't know who else got them. The chat in here, by the way, if you want to join the stream, don't forget Wednesdays, 5 p. East, youtube.com/Star Wars Time Show. Lots of people calling for Hondo. I'm with you all, but I'm starting to like, where are we going to get him? He ain't a fucking bounty hunter, I can tell you that. Right now, he's got a little kind of a shipping business in quotes. Maybe someone uses his ship, or maybe they need him. Maybe they go to Batu and he's already there in his little port. Yeah. That could be interesting. It could. Yeah. Disney would like that, right? That's their planet they created to sell park tickets, so that makes some sense. Yeah, that's right. Be mad to dad from dad. Santa will bring me his own gifts. I'm one of the worst to Matt from Matt motherfuckers on the planet. I like myself, okay? Almost too much sometimes. All right, well, that was fun. We just broke down Skeleton Crew S1E3. We'll be having some clips come out over the next 7 days or so. Nick kind of jabs things up from our conversation on the show, and then I'll be clipping up my long form review, because I know most people aren't going to see it, but there are little nuggets I want you to get in there. These days, you might be getting 9 bits of content a day from the Star Wars Time Show for $0. All right, so get some. Sub up. Consider being a member. Throw us $1.99 a month if you have it in your budget. Okay. All right, well, let's kind of round this thing up here, and we will transition into our fan segment. If you're new here, we do this every week at the end. There's 2 ways to get involved. There is the question of the week, which kind of failed this particular Wednesday due to some issues at Meta's IT Dome. But typically we post the question of the week. It's going to be revolved around one of our topics. So these days we're going to be asking you, hey, what'd you feel about Skeleton Crew? Did you like it? What was your favorite part? Stuff like that. And then, of course, used to be our bread and butter when we actually had a big footprint on Instagram, the top 5 Star Wars fan artist features of the week. That will close out the show for us. But right now we're going to go ahead and check in on what the fans had to say about this episode. So let me go ahead and get that pulled up here, Nick, real quick. If you want to start reading, go for it.
Question is, what was your favorite or least favorite part of Skeleton Crew episode 3 from Mr. Jedi, the part when Neil tumbled down from the hill on the moon? But overall, I really loved the stuff from the Old Republic references. There you go. Good stuff, Mr. Jedi. Nova. And I believe these are all Discord messages. So
yeah, we needed a backup today, man. I'm not kidding.
Yeah.
I'm guessing Meta lost to a few $1 million today.
It was definitely down for a while today. But Nova says, great episode and the performances continue to be amazing. I'm really glad they confirmed that Jod is Silva without making a big deal out of it. Now he's Crimson Jack too. The At Attin ties to the Old Republic are getting juicy and can't wait to find out more about what's going on behind the scenes on this planet. Good stuff. Bat says, favorite part continues to be the practical effects. Feels more Star Wars than anything in a while. The world building and storytelling is strong. Obvious answers aren't dwelt on, and pace is good. Give me more.
Gimme.
Mando Pirate says, this was my least favorite episode so far, but I love the feel of the series, and it's the most Star Wars of the live action series since The Mandalorian. And then Bat again says, it wasn't just me.
Yeah, way to rub it in, pal.
Question of the week.
This was not our technical glitch this week,
not
okay?
our fault.
Everything else usually is, not this.
Indeed.
I did lose a lot of time trying to figure out, like, is it me? I mean, you can ask them. I was like, hey, is our account essentially banned again? They're like, no, everything's jacked. So that at least made me feel good.
Yeah, everything was in a bad spot today for sure. But yes, now we're moving on to the top 5 Star Wars fan artist features of the week. To get involved with this segment, make sure to follow us at StarWarsTime.show on Instagram when it is up and running, which it should be now. And tag us, tag at StarWarsTime.show on your Star Wars Instagram
I've been
post.
trying to individually hit some people that I see, or like every once in a blue moon, we'll actually see their work in our feed, which is a miracle on Instagram. So I'm like, yo, we see you're still using the hashtag. You got to go to add tag. All right. Don't forget.
Yeah.
It's if you want to be honored by young Nick, you got to add tag at StarWarsTime.show.
You got to do it. All right. To kick off this week, we have Mr. Stormtrooper Davis. Mr. Stormtrooper Davis gives us an awesome 2-shot here. One of Anakin Skywalker in the good old Clone
I didn't know
Boys.
that he had a second one. It makes sense, right?
Yeah. Running into battle.
Look at that.
You see Anakin with the blue lightsaber ignited, going through the sand-blasted wastelands of Tatooine or some other sand planet on Star Wars.
It's Ryloth. It's the scene recreation from the Ahsoka World Between Worlds episode.
You're right. Good call. And then the next one is the lonely shot of Vader.
So cool.
With the red boy ignited. I mean, I just love the effects on this that Mr. Stormtrooper Davis got out.
Yeah,
of this.
I mean, MSD has become a pro over these years. I mean, we've been following them since our inception. I remember even when I was in the toy photography game, Mr. Stormtrooper was there. And yeah, I mean, they've just gotten really good at practical and blending practical with the digital, very much like Mando mugshots if they're still in here. So make sure to check out at Mr. Stormtrooper Davis on Instagram. And I believe they also have a Lego toy photography account. One too.
They do have a Lego one as well. Good stuff. Next up.
Look at this
I love this. We have On Golden Panda Baba here. And the caption of this is, the king is dead, long live the king. And who's the new king? It's Neil, baby. You see Neil sitting here on the former throne of Jabba the Hutt, the former throne of Bib Fortuna, the former throne of Boba Fett, and now the current throne of Neil.
Mine showed up, Nick. They all showed up yesterday. I got the full wave already. There he is.
Nice.
He does look glorious.
Nice.
I think this guy's going to be a desk figure, which is a lot. Typically, only stuff from my daughter makes the desk these days. Neil, I think, is going to get the coveted spot.
Dude, I love this. This figure looks, one, like incredibly detailed in the face, and then two,
I should send you one for Christmas. He's fucking great, dude. I mean, he looks amazing.
It's so cool looking, and then just like I love the pose that on Golden Panda Baba got out of. It's just fucking
How
great,
about,
man. Just
did you hear first his belly grumbling, and then did you hear
then
his
the
little
snores?
elephant snore? Like, come on.
yeah, dude. Neil's the fucking best, man.
Come on.
I
Oh,
love Neil.
divided. That's a good one. Kneel to
Neil
kneel.
to Neil.
I like that.
Yes, dude. Good call.
Kneel before kneel.
Good shit. So on Golden, Panda Baba with the awesome
Killer handle.
future Neil
Great shot.
Indeed. Next up, we have Noir Kaiser
Watch your
FX.
six, Grogu. Sorry.
Noir Kaiser FX gives us an awesome shot of Ray Stevenson. Oh, well, not Ray
Balin.
Stevenson, Balin Skull. But I mean, like, this is just such a clean shot of Balin, full armor, lightsaber ignited, looking up to the sky. Absolutely excellent representation of Balin here. We get a close-up shot as the next one, and then the third shot in the lineup is the behind the scenes. Yeah, I mean, just a clean-looking shot of an absolutely incredible figure here.
That's Hot Toys for you, pal. Mine should be coming probably in the next month or so. I just got hit with a heavy layaway bill from Sideshow yesterday. I always love those. I open up my wallet app on my phone. I'm like, oh shit, yep, it's that time of the month. It's Sideshow time. It's like a $300 dump, just like.
Yeah, right out. There you go.
See
But
ya.
yeah, good stuff. Noir Kaiser FX
True.
on Instagram. Next up, we have Aussie Action Figs. Aussie Action Figs giving us an awesome shot of Vader and Anakin, young Annie from episode 1. You see the duality of the characters, Vader in the foreground with the ghost-like figure of little Annie in the background. It's just a good representation, and we've seen like different shots, different styles of shots like this, but it's always a good representation of the journey from Anakin Skywalker to Vader when you see those two juxtaposed next to each other.
Yeah, man. I remember seeing this one in the feed too. It is a pretty good shot. You always like when they, you know, the many faces of Vader as we see. I mean, look at that. He was just that innocent young little slave boy, and all because he thought his wife was going to die, he somehow decided to kill all Jedi kids, take down the galaxy, and become a bitch to Sheev Palpatine.
That's right.
You had so much potential, Anakin. So much potential.
You did, but then he fell in
Then
love.
you done fucked up. Yep. Like Nick said,
And then-
you ran into the ultimate evil of Star Wars and Padme Amidala.
Yes, the villain
The true villain.
among all villains.
The true villain.
The true villains. All
This
right, and
next
then the
one's a
last
killer.
one here.
This is like an ode to Kill Cutter.
Dude, I was about to
Right?
say that too. Yes, this is Paul Brown 12. Paul Brown's been a long time follower, long time top 5 member from the Star Wars Time show past. But what we have here is an awesome, like you said, very reminiscent of Kill Cutter shot where we have a mashup between Jurassic Park and Star Wars, where we see our good buddy Maul trying to take on a full-size T-Rex by himself, lightsaber only. I mean, and it looks like they're on Mustafar or some other volcanic planet as well. You can see like the magma breaking up from the ground underneath the T-Rex. The posing on the T-Rex is fucking crazy, dude. Like the way he has it posed to like perfectly loom over Maul, and the way that the eyes are looking directly down at Maul, just fan-fucking-tastic, dude. I love this shot.
Yeah, no, I mean, I was just looking through Paul's page, and my God, that dude has, like anyone does, if you keep doing something, that whole 10,000 hours thing is real. I remember when Paul started, not saying they were basic, but not putting out this level of shit, quality shit, might I say. But yeah, it's fantastic. I for some reason, dinosaurs seem to work really well in Star Wars. Like it's really
They
not
do.
even that big of a like, oh yeah, it's sure, why not? I mean, we've got a little walking elephant boy, so why not have T-Rexes?
Dude, just whoever's the next Star Wars showrunner, movie creator, whoever out there, just send us to a dino planet, please. Can we go to a dinosaur planet in Star Wars? I just want to see it happen. It needs to happen. But yes, that's good stuff here. At Paul Brown 12 on Instagram. Make sure to follow. Always good stuff on the feed from Paul. And that's the end of the top 5. And that's the end of our show for this week. So
All
Matt,
right.
go ahead and close us out.
Don't mind if I do. Let me go ahead and get some things switched around here. All right, we're back. Now you can see our lovely faces again instead of this toy art, because I know we are the main draw for the live streamers, because we are some of the most beautiful broadcasters on the planet. All right, my friends, it's been real. Always love sitting here spitting Star Wars with my man, young Nick, but even more so when we've got this live stream crowd coming in. I know we got, some vertical people pulled in today, some horizontal people pulled in today. Don't forget, we always run 2 versions of our live stream. We got the horizontal for those of you that might be at home on TVs and desktops, and then we got the vertical for those of you that might be on a tablet or a phone. You just got to look at the title. The one that is up and down will say VERT. We would love, if you're new here, if you're just checking in, to give us a sub at minimum. Hell, at minimum, like it. Leave a comment, then consider subbing. If you stick around, you like what you see, and you're like, you know what? I think I could give these guys $2 a month. Consider becoming a channel member. We try not to push it too much. I know we got ads now playing on our content, but you gotta listen. This is 6+ years of me busting my ass, Nick busting his ass on the shows, so I'm not gonna feel too bad. All right, I watch a lot of freaking ads on YouTube because I don't pay for premium, and now we're doing it. So I apologize that it annoys you. What can I say? We're hot shit these days, at least for a week. We're bell the ball at least for a week. I have a feeling a lot of the juice that we got from my review last week sadly will not translate into more, but we can always hope. That's where you all come in. Okay, just get out there, keep pounding the streets for us. It's great to see Star Wars Order keep coming back. That means we kind of trick them into thinking we're actually worth their time, and that's what you all have to start doing. Just get out there. Get on your stumps, all right? We need our surrogates out and about because the machines, they don't love us so much. The algorithm truly is a coin toss, and when I say a coin toss, I'm talking 30-70 in our favor, if not 20-80 in our favor. And in our favor, I mean the 20, not the 80. All right, people, it's been real. Can't wait for next week. We'll be doing it all over again, talking about what came next. What did we learn about Jadna? What did we learn about At Attin? Are the kids starting to realize that they've been bamboozled their whole lives? And will it make them angry, right? I mean, you got to think these kids eventually are going to start questioning their reality. Why? Why is this happening? Why does everyone think our planet is this thing? What the fuck have our parents been doing? Do they know? That's why we love this show. Lots of stuff to speculate on. And if you want some of the best speculation in the Star Wars fan content creator universe, you come right here to the SWTS, because there's always time for Star Wars time. And if you listen to the Star Wars Time show, the Force will be with you always.